See?
So far, that looks like it's working. Now let's check this.
YouTube's looking good. We're looking solid. Good flow. We're late, Marcus. Come on now.
Of course.
Day one.
Refreshing.
No, Marcus is late.
Oh, look.
Right? A
Looking
wizard
at my-
is never late.
Now I've got to remember to mute this. There we go. Sorry.
Everything I'm looking at as far as time goes says 9:00 p.m.
Yeah,
It says 9:00 p.m. on my end. I don't know what
Perfect.
Marcus is seeing.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. How are we doing? Welcome to the very, very first.
Okay.
I guess we'll consider it a dry run of our new show that we're putting together for this Wednesday evening. Maybe a little bit later for some, but wanted to get together with our friends here and talk about some of the stuff going on in the world. And you know, what I like to think of the show as is something that even in the darkest of times, when we think that there's just such little light left, we can get together for some good conversation and maybe talk about potential solutions and things that we can do as people in order to move forward. And even though recapping some of the crazy news that happens over the past couple of weeks or past couple of days might be a bit triggering at times, I think it's still healthy to do so. And even for people who may not be in the know to look back on this and understand what is going on. And again, maybe some potential solutions for the future. And of course, without further ado, I'm joined by two amazing people, two people who I respect very much. Miss Horror Emirado and Sheepsidian.
It was a mistake to respect me.
I've heard, but I'm gonna take a chance. I'm absolutely gonna take a chance.
Gonna take a chance on you. I think there's a song about that.
I'm sure of it.
But I'm locked and loaded with coffee. I'm excited. But for those who may not know, and for people who will be looking back on this, Emirado, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and plans for the future.
Well, I'm a Twitch streamer who plays games, discusses anything and everything. There is no such thing as a bad conversation. That includes politics, even ones that may not necessarily seem like, they're the mainstream or allowed, because, if you don't talk about something, you can't actually know anything about it. Plans is plans. I have some plans. I do have something coming up, but I'm not in a place to talk about it yet.
That's fair. Sheep.
Hello, I am known as Sheepsidian, aka Sheep, aka the local hero, aka just some black guy, aka okay. I do content. I create videos. You could go check those out over at YouTube and stuff. I play video games every now and then when I have time to. I draw. I do music. I'm working on a bunch of stuff at one time, and I need to get my schedule in order. But for the most part, I'm relatively social. You can approach me with a lot of topics, and I'll either go, "Oh yeah, I know about that," or I'll just look at you as if I missed a social cue or something like that.
Second part's truer than you know.
Yes. So that's the general gist of me. I'm not afraid to speak my mind unless it's on somebody else's platform. Then I'll go ahead and hold my tongue, because I don't want to jeopardize somebody else's stuff.
True, absolutely. We'll make it clear that I do want open discussion. I do want each other to, if we find that we're in disagreement, or if you feel that I say something that you disagree with, I think it's important to address them. Of course, obviously in a respectful manner. I consider you guys friends, and I would never disrespect you. But of course, I might offer a little pushback or even question like your thought process, but it's only to help me better understand what's going on. And I think that's a point I want to try and illustrate when we do talk about the topics that we come across, because some of them will be hard hitting and of course, like I said, triggering. I don't really like using that word, but for some they can be sensitive. But I always want healthy discussion, but we're open here do what you need. Of course, we'll try and stay within TOS the best we can, so we don't get shut down.
TOS. What's that again?
Right.
Terms of service.
Oh, right.
Oh,
Oh,
oh, I'm sorry. You were being facetious. I
Right.
don't know what it is either.
Yes.
But before we really start, if you guys haven't hit the like button, of course, we got to go through the rigmarole. Please, in the dogs,
Hit the
please
like
make
for
sure,
grace.
make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Of course, we're trying to build our YouTube channel here. For me, myself, I didn't really give myself an introduction, but if you don't know who I am, my name is TheShagsworth. I stream mostly over on Twitch, twitch.tv/TheShagsworth. I play lots of single player games. I try and do them start to finish, but you know, every now and then I get sidetracked, like I think most great people. But yeah, subscribe to the channel, like the video. Later on, we'll be chopping this up into our wonderful segments that we do get into. This evening, we wanted to touch on a couple of different things that have been sort of in the news recently, and some stuff that just is probably close to our hearts. But Hollywood ignoring the established mythologies of different cultures was something near and dear that we wanted to touch on, because it's pretty important, as we are seeing a lot of tokenization within Hollywood and comics, and moving over to men replacing women in sports. This is obviously something recently in the news, and something that is very, very controversial. It's hard to talk about, and people don't want you to talk about it, and will shout you down, calls you transphobe and turf and a whole bunch of other made up words. And gosh, my last topic, I'm like drawing a blank all of a sudden. What happened?
Did it happen to do with The Witcher?
I did want to touch on the Witcher for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was something I did want, because there's a new game that's coming out that was announced very recently about it coming on Unreal 5. They're not using Red Engine, but they're using Unreal 5. And then, gosh, I'm glad this is a dry run. This is why we do, to get myself organized. The Disney and Pixar, the Disney and Pixar walkout that happened. Was it yesterday? And just I think the overall
quotations.
Was it yesterday? I think, was it yesterday or was it Monday?
It may have been. It was in the last like 2 days, but it was yes,
something like that. But pertaining to The Witcher, as far as them putting out a new game, making on Unreal 5, is it confirmed that they will have a Henry Cavill skin where he has the actual like short arms?
I don't know.
If he doesn't have, if they don't have short arms, Henry Cavill, I don't want it. It's unauthentic.
He wants T-Rex, is what he wants.
I want
he wants
Henry
T-Rex.
Rex Cavill. How would you say that? The Rexy Cavill?
You know, I'm a bad nerd. I have not watched an episode of the Witcher.
Oh, you either?
Well, you know, I've never been into the. I've just never been into the Witcher lore, and I got lost in the game. Not like lost, like I couldn't find my way. I just wasn't pulled into the world the way some people have gotten lost in it. I don't know what it was. It was kind of boring for me. I don't know if that's sacrilege to say, but
yeah, it is what it is. I can never, like, I bought the game. I shit you not. I bought the game from GameStop back in like 2018. Bought it pre-owned, got the Game of the Year edition, all the DLC and stuff like that. And at one point in time, I think it was like 2021 or something like that, 2020, somewhere around there, I opened up the case. The receipt was still sitting in there, and I was sitting there thinking to myself, I never keep the receipt. And I looked at it and said, oh, well, 2018. Oh, I haven't even installed the game. I haven't even attempted to think about installing the game. I was just like, oh, yep, it's there. I'll play Soul Calibur instead.
Like, I played the first one once, and I think my horse got caught on something, and I'm like, you know what? This doesn't make sense. And
got caught on some geometry. Boy.
I apologize for the dogs.
No, it happens. And I think, I don't know. And the combat in the Witcher games looked boring. I think that's kind of like what turned me away from it. It just didn't. The story was cool. I think. Like I enjoyed the little bit of story. I played probably like 4 or 5 hours, and I was like, okay, this is cool. The sheer amount of questing that that was around was a little overwhelming. There was a lot of side quests, and I got so distracted. And it doesn't make it a bad game. It's just with how bad I have like questing ADD, it just took me away from what I was supposed to be doing. So I was like, I think
Well,
I
it's
just
funny
need to.
because I loved Dragon Age Inquisition.
Mhm.
And that one, I mean, they literally, when it came out, they were talking about how people were spending, just tens of hours in the first area you get into because there's so many quests to do. And I mean, I have thousands of hours into that game
Mhm.
because I will stop and do every little side quest and look for every little thing. And, so it seems crazy to me that it just wasn't that, interesting for me.
Yeah.
The Witcher, that is.
Right. And yeah, so like the news of it being like of a new game being released, I'm like, okay, well, it definitely appeals to someone, and I know people are excited. They always seem to do really well on The Witcher. I don't remember there being a bunch of issues with that particular game. Now, CD Projekt Red had a pretty awful time with Cyberpunk, as everyone knows. So hopefully they've learned their lesson from that and just take their time with a title like The Witcher, because it's near and dear to so many people. But yeah, I don't for me it's a bit of a nothing burger. I don't care all that much, but being in Unreal Engine 5, like the little bit that I've seen of Unreal Engine 5, it looks insanely beautiful. Like everything that I see come out of there is really, really well done and looks nearly lifelike. So to that end, I'm excited to see what the technology can do.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god, this coffee is so good, guys.
I'm on water.
Oh, that's too bad. I
Ain't
drink
it?
water
I
all
have
day.
water.
But I did want to get, because you, Emerald, you said that you had posted this tweet in our discussion about Hollywood ignoring these the cultural
Other
mythology of
mythologies,
other
yeah.
And I kind of wanted to start with that and get your feedback and let you kind of run with it to start.
Yeah, I was trying to pull up a website, but my computer's being a little temperamental. So I'm trying to do it over here now. Because can you actually pull up the tweet and put it on screen?
Sure
So,
thing.
because I mean, with that, and I responded to a tweet earlier. Well, it would have been late last night, early this morning, depending on how you want to observe that, about race swapping characters and how it's okay as long as you're making a white character black, but it's not okay if you're making a black character white.
Right.
God damn it, Grace, shut up. Oh, Sophie, shut up.
Damn it, so Grace.
Yeah, whichever. The one dog that's barking again.
Grafey, whoever it is. Cut it out.
Oh, hey, that looks nice. We can see that screen, right?
Oh, geez.
Nice.
I was looking at the timestamp.
Oh man, yeah, I see what you mean by all this race swap. They're getting wild with it now. Everybody's just numbers and stuff. It's crazy.
That's how I look at you. I'm like, okay, it was number. Okay.
Your number 600.
The rise and fall of tokenism.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, what was it? Just recently there was talk about Kratos and making a, god damn it, what's that? God of War live action, and how he should be black. He's Greek.
Right.
And but despite the fact he's Greek, he's black coated and he's Greek.
Yeah, I don't understand. What is black coated? What is that?
I think she might be able to explain it better. Yeah.
The whole coded mentality pretty much falls to the line of, oh, well, a character's personality or certain traits about that character has close resemblance to something cultural, in the sense of like Piccolo, for example. Amarad and I were talking about this earlier. Piccolo having, like, I guess, the cool guy mentality or whatever kind of individual, whatever kind of character that they're trying to say in that sense is like, oh, well, you see Piccolo, and he's pretty much like the black guy of the group. And it's like, that makes no sense. Piccolo is a Namekian from Namek. He's an alien. Oh, yeah, but he does black people things. And it's like, what counts as black people things, really? Like the whole coded thing just falls to the and it's a phrase that bothers me so much. Like you have like black coded or queer coded or minor coded. It's pretty much anyone's easy out for trying to win an argument at this point. But overall, it means nothing in the grand scheme of it all. Just people who want to have something to cling on to.
Yeah, like to all that, I just say like I just think it's like
you got a fucking soundboard.
I mean, I try and come prepared.
So
most of the time, it's just. I mean, anyways, sorry.
So for the office, Amarada, we need to go ahead and get a soundboard first. Shelves can wait. We'll get a soundboard. I don't know where we're going to sit.
Something to put the soundboard on. The shelves come first.
A floor, like we have a floor.
Look,
the floor
I am not
is
leaning
stable.
down the floor. Look, we can.
Why lean? Just sit down on the floor.
We can have this discussion later.
Well, luckily, it's all built right into my one board, so it's a one-stop shop. So, yeah, I see. That's the unfortunate, because I remember hearing that very rumors, like, oh, like Kratos better be black, or we're not watching it. And I'm like, well,
yeah,
I thought he was just a really he's just an olive-skinned Greek guy.
He's aggressive. Is what he's an aggressive guy who has like a very, I guess, a very heavy what do you call? I guess a heavy tone when he shouts, and people go, oh, well, he's doing what, he sounds like a black person, or he does what black people think. So he looks like a black person. It just sounds stupid just because the guy's jawline is like super chiseled, as if like non-black people can't have chiseled jawlines.
Right. The original, was it both voice actors, or the first one was at least a black guy? So, I mean, I guess his voice, but do black people have a black person voice? Is that a thing? I don't think so. But
doesn't sheep sound black?
I sound like an anime.
I don't know. No, I don't know. No, you don't, because when the first time I heard your voice, that's not what I thought at all. And then
exactly.
I mean, to be fair, you're a normal person, so you heard his voice. Your first thing wasn't, well, what color is this person? Your first thing was, oh, he sounds nice. He sounds interesting. He sounds intelligent.
Yeah.
Or
that's unfortunate. Those are all wrong.
Right.
By
Intelligent?
the way.
No. He sounds like someone who can use words.
That's accurate.
Yeah.
For some reason, I learned early in life that there are 26 letters in the alphabet, and a lot of words I know how to use the letters. So people will look at that and go, "Oh, okay, you don't talk like you're from the streets." And it's like I didn't know I had to speak in a specific inflections in my words in order for me to be from the streets.
Right.
It's the weirdest thing that people go through. Oh, well, you don't speak like, black people. Well, what do black people speak like?
Right. I mean, that's something I've always wondered myself. So
it's just as weird too, because it's those same people who will see a character like a big gorilla or something, and they'll somehow associate that with well, why isn't a black actor or something like that? And you're like, wait, what? Why? Have you seen that where people these that street? Oh my god.
Uh-oh.
Someone else is laughing too. I can hear it.
Yeah. Well, we're doing a show.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I've done it to sheep before. I walk in the room and he nearly jumped a mile. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
That, by the way, is a false story. Do not listen to Amarada and that says that is not true. I simply turned around. I turned around. I felt like 40 bones in my body just all creak at the same time, and I flinched because of the pain.
I fell over laughing.
Yeah. Growing up, my stepdad used to we'd be upstairs and he'd be like, "Hey, Tom, come downstairs." Like, "I need to ask you something." And we'd come like running downstairs all happy, and he'd be hiding around the corner. And he'd just like, bah, like scare us, and we just like melt into a puddle.
Like the goat falling down the slide.
Yeah.
No, Trey, the thing
Exactly.
is I didn't sneak up on him. I wasn't even trying to sneak up on him. I just opened the door to bring him his dinner.
No, it's not. It's not simply just open the door. This something or other decided she was going to slowly turn
I
the
did not
knob,
slowly.
slowly
I
push the
told
door
you regularly
open,
open
and
the door.
slowly tiptoe
It was the
where I
tiptoeing.
am. And once I got that once my sixth sense kick in, because I have low cognitive whatever they call that shit, low spider senses. Anyway, I like the shit kicked in, and I was like, danger's behind me. I turned around, and she almost had her tentacle at my throat, and it was about to be a fight live on stream.
I opened the door. I stepped in. He goes, ah!
I did not go, ah, relax.
And I hit the bed laughing.
What's funny is like, so you guys have kids one day, and like mine will do these random times. I'll put them down to bed, and I'll like go do a couple things, and like half an hour will go by, and you know I'm the kind of person who likes to shut lights off in the house and like only use the one that I'm using. And one night I'm just put him to bed. This is my 3-year-old. Put him to bed, do my couple of things. About 25 minutes goes by. I'm like, I watch part of a show, and I get up because I have to use the bathroom. And like I come, so his bedroom's all the way at the end of the hallway, and the bathroom is the first door on the right. So I stand up from the couch, turn around to the hallway, and he's just standing at the end of the hallway looking at me with a smile. And I nearly like jumped through the ceiling. Like it was because I wasn't expecting him to be standing there, and I didn't hear him. Oh my God.
My question is, in that kind of situation, if your kid is down the hall smiling at you, why don't you start picking your foot up? Because one or two things are going to happen. Either they're going to sprint at you and run into your foot, or they're going to jump at you and run into your knee.
Right. I was prepared. Like as soon as I got my senses back, I was on the defensive, not in a threatening way to him, but I was certainly like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like my fists clenched, like as if I was gonna have to like roundhouse him just in case he was possessed by some demonic force.
That's why movies with little kids are so scary, though, because
All worth and
parents
no
have
pain.
those moments where they're like, I think my kid might be a demon, and it's not because they did anything or said anything. It's just the way they're standing.
New marketing scheme is going to be all work and no play makes me das boot.
However, we are way off topic.
We are.
So,
What topic?
and I found the website I was looking for, so that's even better.
Oh, cool. Can you share, or do you need me to share?
I put the actual website in the private chat, so if you could pull it up,
Sure.
You'll have to probably type it in because I had to go to, with the way my stuff's set up right now, I had to go to a separate object
my bank account
to
set
find
up.
the website.
It'll bring me to some prawn site.
Yeah, it'll be absolutely freaky. And then if you actually just click on African right at the top when you get there.
The African prawn?
Yes, we're going to be looking at the African prawn.
Did I do the right one? This is a bunch of little like short stories.
Yeah, it's fairy tales. It's fairy tales from around the world.
I don't see the African part.
If you go to the top where it says Classic Tales, you can go to Regions.
Oh, Classic Tales. There we go. African.
Sorry.
No, we're fine. Okay, let me share this for the crowd.
And if you just scroll down to where they can actually see the titles of the There we go. And okay, so you saw the other can you go back to the tweet actually?
Sure.
First.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a tweet I read on Facebook or Facebook.
Close enough.
The race swapping, the fact that instead of going out and using any one of these gods, that there are 11 different pantheons of African-based gods alone that they could pull from.
Mhm.
Any one of them would make an amazing story. And then you have the fairy tales, which, you know, they're remaking The Little Mermaid. They're using on the one hand, it's not about the race. It's about the fact that instead of just taking a Dutch fairy tale and putting a black person in it, they could use any one of these amazing stories and, you know, do the same thing that we've been doing with oh my god, Grace, shut up. It's just like being on one of my game streams, except she's an idiot.
Canine abuse.
My dog.
Nah.
I love her. She's just
Human abuse. Caboose.
and then a lot of them kind of are interchangeable, but you know, you have a story like the lion, the hyena, and the rabbit. I think doesn't that sound adorable?
Mm-hmm.
If you just go down to the bottom, there you
You want me
go.
to click on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it pulls it up. I mean, it and
Simba.
you have Simba, Fisi, the hyena, and I can't even say that. I'm not going to butcher that for anybody.
Kititi?
Kititi, yeah. The rabbit made up their mind to go for a little farming, and you know, and together they make their little farm, and you know, everybody decided to do it. And if you're good there, you know, it's just an adorable little story that, you know, could be made a cartoon, a movie, anything other than freaking redoing again a Dutch or European story, and then instead of, you know, trying to erase or copy over or whatever you want to call it a character, a well-known, already established character, you could literally validate millions of people
Mhm.
by using their actual stories.
Yeah, it's
And
bizarre. I
the
mean,
fact that they refuse to. Crap.
yeah,
No,
it
that
just
was
seems to be a huge problem with. I mean, and like in everything, like you said, they're just. It's like it's either a total like rehash of what's already been created, or it's okay, like either rehash what's already been created and just change like little minor details, or it's a total race swap, or it's a total gender swap, or it's take this animated thing and make it a live action thing and then do those things in the process. And it's like, and some of those things they've done on like multiple times.
Oh yeah.
It's like just like we need fresh stories and something, you know, and people like Americans would say like we're probably not familiar with a lot of these stories, and I'm sure there's a lot of great lessons in all of them. It's like can we take good pieces of these and just, I mean, but then do we get in trouble because we're trying to like Americanize these African stories? Like is that why they don't do it, because they feel like they're appropriating some part of another culture?
I don't think it's that. I think it's that they're lazy. They don't. I mean, the European stories have already been really really well established here in the U.S. So and around the world for various reasons. Well, I mean, because the European people are very good at going out and spreading themselves around. One might say. So I mean, it's something for a lot of people is easily and quickly recognizable. So why on earth go out and find something else to build on when you can just redo what's already there? Now, I mean, and I saw Trey say they could make cool original stories. In the end, every story is kind of derivative of a basic type of story.
Right.
So
mostly formulaic.
Yeah, I mean, people go on a journey, they have an adventure, they learn a lesson, the end.
Yeah.
But the fact is there's so many, even, I mean, have you have all the amazing Native American stories that exist that they could go off of that would not only, help educate everybody on the Native Americans, but would make just genuinely amazing and different stories from the European ones. There's so much rich culture out there. The fact that we're being told the same stories over and over and over again is just a little ridiculous.
Yeah. What was your guys' favorite? I mean, like, what was their last, like, I guess, favorite Disney story that came out?
The Emperor's New Groove.
Emperor's New Groove. Okay.
I would have to probably say The Lion King, but I'm old.
Okay. My answer might surprise you guys. I don't know, and this is something I've been thinking about for a while, and I think mine is Moana. And
I haven't seen it.
It's really good, and it's one of those that, like, the reason I like it is because it doesn't. I mean, it kind of walks the line of, like, some of the newer stuff where it's like, it's just like female empowerment, like beating you over the head. But it's really it's nice because she's not like a Mary Sue. She does have struggles that she has to overcome, and she doesn't just, like, all of a sudden learn to sail. Like, she's not an expert in sailing. Like, there's there's actually character arc and development, but not saying, like, oh, it's because she's a woman that she's so good. It's because she's gone through these trials and tribulations, and had to overcome, like, many different things along the way. It's a really, really great story. If you haven't seen it yet, I would definitely take some time to watch it. But it was definitely one of my favorites recently. All the other ones that have come out have been kind of
Here's my thing as far as Moana goes is there is a certain kind of fear, if you would say, called megalophobia, which is having a fear of large constructs. I have self-diagnosed acute megalophobia.
Okay.
And I saw a clip of Moana. It was a scene where if I remember correctly, the spoiler alert for a movie, if you haven't watched, you don't care to watch anytime soon. It was like the big bad or the fire demon or whatever turned into like this giant living island.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw that volcano or that mountain smile, I said, no, I'm not watching this movie.
Good.
I refuse to watch this movie because that shit scares the ever-loving. In real life, if I see a giant mountain with a happy face on it, I will find the asteroid and drag it to Earth because we don't deserve that shit. I don't deserve that shit.
What I'm hearing is that when we drive through the mountains, you don't want me to point out the giant statue of Mary.
Yes. If there's a giant statue of Mary and me turning my head any which way would leave me none the wiser, say nothing.
Because it does exist.
Well, thank you. Just keep it to yourself, though.
My wife has that too. Her self-diagnosed as well. But, like, when we go to Vegas, we usually stay at the Flamingo, which is right behind the Ferris wheel there. And and if you take, like, a cab, they go underneath it, like, to get to, like, because the entrance is around the back. And every time she'll be, like, sweating, like going underneath it. She cannot stand. And when we lived in Hawaii, we lived near this one of the coastal towns that has cruise ships that comes in on Wednesdays. We would not go to town on Wednesdays because she couldn't, like, even a cruise ship that was, like, just off the port. Not happening. It was. I would always make fun of her because it's like she was, like, stuff like that will bother her, but she was also a mortician for several years and be inside people's dead body, and I'm like, so you're okay with that, but you, like, just a big thing is, like,
see, now when it comes to my situations, it's less of giant construct like, oh, a skyscraper or something like that. It's things that take on humanistic traits normally.
Okay.
So, like, I refuse to go see the Statue of Liberty, even though I pretty much lived in New York for a good portion of my life. I refuse to go see the statue of Jesus over in Rio or wherever,
right?
in South America,
Rio de
whatever.
Janeiro.
That I refuse to go see Zeus. I don't mind going to see Tokyo Tower, or not Zeus, but Atlas. I don't mind seeing the Tokyo Tower. That wouldn't bother me. But if it's gigantic and looks humanistic or has like a smiley face or some kind of humanistic trip, the Mount Rushmore can walk away as well. I prefer that. Not, and I'm pretty sure we're like right around the corner from Mount Rushmore. It can just.
I mean, honestly, on the way to Wall Drug, we could go see.
No, just leave me in Wall Drug. Fuck it. I fully accept Wall Drug if that's the case.
They can see the biggest ball of yarn. See how it does?
Oh, that would
That'd be
bother me at all. I wouldn't mind that.
Oh man, that's funny. Well, we know how to scare the crap out of sheep now. This is good. I
Yeah,
remember that.
no. Yeah, if it takes on humanistic traits, I will punch it. I will beat down everything. I'm not gonna pull an SJW, punch it in the face. No, I'm snapping its neck. I'm gonna find all 283 bones in its body. I know, but I'm finding all 283 bones in its body. I'm snapping all of them. I'm breaking the cochlea. I'm probably gonna burst my own cochleas in the process. And like, it's just it. If I'm gonna beat it to dust, and I'm gonna stomp the dust. I'm gonna set it on fire, and I'm gonna stomp the ashes. Like no.
Well, okay. So, what about Burning Man?
Burning Man can burn
so bad. I want to go. I've heard some great stories about Burning Man. Like, I had a friend who went every year. She'd always share pictures of like her and her boyfriend there, and they do the typical thing: go and have like orgies and do drugs all week long.
Yeah, I'm good.
And they just talk about it like that's just what you do. But one of the coolest things they said was, so you go there, they build, so everything there just pop up, right? They build it, and then at the end, it's all taken down and gone right in the middle of the desert. But one of the things they do is they always build like a big church. And what everyone does is they go and they post like pictures of stuff that they like from their past, some things that they're trying to work through. And at the end, the very last night, they burn the whole thing down. Like they all stand in a circle. It's the only time that everyone is completely quiet through the whole thing. And they just, all you hear is the church burning to the ground. And I just thought, wow, like that is the coolest thing ever. Like, I mean, what an experience that must be. And I'm sure most people are just like tripping balls and they're just watching this church burn to the ground. But like I'm, I understand the sacrilege behind burning a church. I'm not promoting burning a church, but I thought the symbolism behind this particular place, like burning to the ground and starting new and all that was pretty wild. Yeah.
I like that. Reminds me of what J.K. Rowling did with the set of Hogwarts, if I remember. Yeah, it was Hogwarts for the last Harry Potter movie, where like it was just like, all right, well, this is gonna be the final movie. Fuck, we just blow it up. And it's like, that's pretty cool. That's pretty based. I'm behind that idea.
Sounds transphobic to me.
Hey, look,
Yeah.
transphobic or not, it's still cool.
Oh
I
my
know they were
God.
all those guys playing with sticks.
Right.
Yeah,
Pretty sus.
yeah, they were swinging sticks.
Yep. But Hermione was the best at that stick. Man, could she did a little
Something like that.
I don't know.
They're all good at touching sticks, but Hermione was the best at it. It's just Harry had the best stick, apparently. Or Harry's dad had the best stick and he passed it down to Harry. Oh no.
But what's the he who must not be mentioned, he finished right on his forehead.
I mean, yeah. Oh
He carried
no.
that shit his whole life.
My God. J.K. Rowling, you should be canceled.
Well, I mean,
Really,
Yeah,
they're canceling her for the wrong reason. I mean,
I
Oh,
know,
no.
right?
I know. Oh no, she's this, that, and the other. No, she's just speaking fact. What y'all need to do is analyze what she's doing. Some grown-ass alien dude just finished on this baby's head. And it's there, and everyone knows him as the kid who got finished on.
right.
What a legacy. What a legacy. Somebody put their stick to your forehead and said, you belong to me.
Oh God. Oh, I think we're dancing along the lines of TOS here, but we'll see.
Hey,
Nothing wrong with a little tap dancing.
whatever platform we're on, these is jokes. Just relax.
Right. Right.
Like Joan Rivers says, they're jokes. Have a laugh.
Well, to be fair,
Exactly.
we're on Odyssey and YouTube.
Oh yes.
YouTube's the one that might get a little pissy.
Yeah, they tend to get their knickers in a bundle. But Odyssey seems pretty cool. I did see some cool news out of Odyssey that they're looking to do like a monetization thing over there, similar to like what Patreon does, I believe, and that is hype as hell. They're really looking at these other platforms and what they're doing and doing wrong, and they're really capitalizing on it. So,
well, what's nice
smart.
is to top it off is they're not taking a cut; they're just doing the processor fees.
Right. That's I mean, in my opinion, that's how it should be. But I know there's a cost associated with this stuff. What were you gonna say, Sheep?
I was just agreeing is all.
You were disagreeing?
No, I was just agreeing.
Oh, sorry. Man.
Why is that a bad idea? Because socialism.
Oh man. See, I mean, back to what we were saying, because we're getting sidetracked, but yeah, I really hope that I hope that we start seeing something, and I hope people become more vocal about this. Like when I remember seeing this particular tweet that you shared with us, and I thought, yeah, like why aren't we talking about the African gods? Why are we just like race swapping the Vikings? You know, why, especially with God of War 2, like they changed one of the gods into, the younger black girl, and then in the show Vikings, and I understand that they're fictional characters, but like
they changed the Jarl, the white man, into a black woman.
Right. Like again, and it kind of goes back, it just goes right back to what you're saying. It's like you don't need to race swap anything. These stories are stories for a reason. They're part of a different history and culture, and that's fine. And also, like during this time, the way people moved was much different. It wasn't like today where you hop on a flight and you happen to find multiple cultures everywhere. It was really hard for someone to get from like, the continent of Africa up, to Northern Europe. Like it wasn't something that just like happened all the time. Now, I'm sure that they traveled down and, whatever, but like these stories come from a particular culture, and these other cultures that we're shoehorning in there have their own stories, which are beautiful and awesome and filled with powerful, great people. And not to mention all the comic books that exist that actually already have established black superheroes.
That's the thing.
Well, the sad thing for me is, go ahead.
Okay, I was about to say, that's the thing about like a lot of these people who claim to be creatives, over at Amazon and Netflix and stuff like that, is that they want the easy out. They want to be able to tell their story, the story that they would have preferred happen, but wasn't the story that they got, because the obvious popular story, for example, like with like Marvel, for example, like Spider-Man's journey, like the X-Men's journey, Wolverine, Nightcrawler, Gambit, all of those guys, Captain America, Iron Man, their stories. And what they want is, we want to be able to promote, good, or what they would consider good characters of color, be it black, Hispanic, Asian, or whatever. But they don't want to put in the work to get to where those other characters got, as if those other characters didn't work for it as well. Like one of my favorite stories, as far as like one of the most popular, if not the most popular comic book character being Spider-Man, is Stan Lee put Spider-Man out as a last-ditch effort, and it was shot down by the editor. The editor was like, "This is one of the dumbest ideas I've ever heard. This won't sell." But it hit shelves. It sold gangbusters. And editor swung around and was like, "This is one of the greatest ideas ever. I knew this was going to work. This, that, and the other." It's like, you just have to, like, people character that is original and whatever color that they want to promote, as if it matters. But like, along with that, that's the other issue, is that they have no talent. So what they have to do is take a character like Miles Morales, for example, and say, "Oh, well, he's a black Spider-Man," not knowing a lot of people already know is like everything Miles has done, Peter's done already. He's been through the Clone Saga. He's been through the Civil War. He's been through the whole like symbiote situation. Like nothing that Miles is doing is new, which is why people are saying, "Oh, well, if you don't like Miles, you're racist. You're this, that, and the other." No, he's just not anything new.
Right.
Do something new. You can promote Miles Morales as a completely different like superhero, like his own power set, his own like villains, his own like journey and stuff. It might work, it might not work, but they're not willing to take that chance because it can't guarantee some sales. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's too bad. Because I mean, as you see, I like the character of Miles. I mean, his story isn't anything new, but it's not necessarily lazy. Like, it's a cool story. The movie was beautifully done, cinematic. Like, it was a cinematic achievement, I thought. Like the movie. But you know, it's just too bad because there is, and I think you hit the nail on the head. It's really hard to write something new and put everything behind it, right? Like, even when I write a short story, I am scared to death to share it with people because I think, like, what did I do wrong? I mean, I'm way too close to it. I spend so much time, you know, behind the page, behind the computer writing it, and then like I forget, like, no, there's people who've never touched this, and they will sympathize, or maybe they won't. Maybe maybe they'll hate it, and that's the risk you take when you're a creator. You know, there's people who paint for years in their life and don't sell one thing, and then they die, and all of a sudden they become famous. You know, like,
yeah.
But the point is you're doing this, like, that's the point. You're taking the risk. You're telling a story that you want someone to connect with and overcome problems. Like, what's the moral dilemma that they're facing? I'm rereading House of M right now because one of my friends slandered it and was like, oh, that's an awful comic. I was like, I remember it being pretty good, and I'm like 2/3 of the way through, and it's
I'll lean I'll lean credit to both sides of that. Like, it was I like the idea behind it, but I did think it was it was like the third or fourth time they may have reset the whole X-Men pantheon because they got too many mutants.
Right. Like, I don't remember the end of it, but I'm like, everything's coming back to me, and I'm right at the part where they discover that Quicksilver is the reason that everything is the way it is. Like, Doctor Strange just figures it out, and they discover that Xavier is actually still alive. But so like I said, I don't remember what happens at the end, but I remember liking it. But the whole dilemma behind like that story of, like, what if you could have everyone be happy? What if everyone could be okay? And I think even, I forget who said it, but one of the characters is, well, maybe this is what's supposed to happen because we're happy now. Like, I'm happier now than I was before. Like, is this what's supposed to? And then, you know, of course, Wolverine's like, you're going to regret saying that. Like, this is wrong. And again, there's the moral quandary, right? Like, and just like in like when Wanda was talking about, like, you know, she wanted to be happy because she had all this trauma, but it's not right. Like, we know that that's wrong, but that's what makes stories, like, well, in this case, it's not great, but it's what they're battling with internally. You know, it's not about like, well, you know, I'm a woman, so this is the way it's got to go, or you know, come from a certain skin color, you know. Right. So that's what's making things, that's what makes things great as far as storytelling goes. And for some reason, people are afraid to lean into that sort of thing nowadays. I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I think good storytelling in comic books fell off. Like, I think it fell off like right around like the Frank Miller era, but then it got progressed. It wasn't the worst, but it hit an all-time low like right around I want to say like somewhere around 2007, 2008-ish. And then it just never actually got the gumption back up ever since they decided to do Marvel Now and like start shoehorning in characters that are completely unoriginal. Now, they do have some good stories that I was actually, like, you know, on board with. Like, I like the Spider-Man Daily Bugle storyline. I like Swordmaster. And they have the thing that kind of trips me out when it comes to comic books is like sometimes they have some really good ideas, but those good ideas don't sell. So then they just go, okay, this is trash, people don't want it. And then they promote the same bad stuff that people don't want, but has bigger numbers. Right. Because, you know, that's kind of because it's not like, you know, it's not customer sales, it's like distributor sales pretty much.
Yeah.
It's a bad I think because like they have again the Agents of Atlas, and DC had out of the Dark Knight's Metal run, they had one of my favorite characters, Sideways, who's just pretty much like he was, I would say, DC's new Spider-Man in a way, and I was just intrigued by his abilities and like his story and stuff, and it's just like, okay, well, we'll see how this goes, but it didn't sell, so it got canned. Silencer got canned. Brimstone canned. Terrifics canned. Like they just didn't try to push anything new. They just keep pushing the same characters over and over, and then they go, well, these characters are selling, so let's make the characters that we want to make as the characters that are selling. It's the dumbest thing. And that's pretty much what comic book storytelling has become so far, as of recently, which is why manga's over here like, all right, well, fine, we'll eat America's lunch for you.
Right. Yeah, and the thing is that they need to look at some of the other stuff. Like I read through from Image, I read through Descender. If you guys haven't checked that out, it's a great, even for someone who's not necessarily a comic fan. The artwork in it is amazing, and the writing was awesome. But it was a sci-fi story about a kid and his little robot, and then all of a sudden these giant robots show up and like kill like half of the universe's population or whatever, and they somehow link the little boy's robot is linked to these giant robots. So this whole like thing starts, and they're trying to find the little robot, and in order to figure out where these big giant things came from, they came out of nowhere, like warped in, killed a bunch of stuff, and then warped out. So it's a really great story, but it's not like a superhero story. It's like normal everyday people coming together, like kind of ragtag team getting together to figure out how to save the universe. It was really cool. And I'm like, why can't we have more stories like this? Like, you don't always need some superhuman or metahuman to tell a good story. It could just be normal people in an extraordinary like situation. I mean, again, the story formula is pretty set, right? Like the arcs are pretty standard. You can play with them a little bit in like continuity, but for the most part, it's set. But no one's brave enough to take a chance on someone new. But I think the real fans, the real people out there who want to read stories are willing to read those stories. And, I'm sure we'll be disappointed every now and then, but we want something new. We're sick of the recycled shit.
And that's the thing that kind of bugs me, is that like with a lot of creatives out there, they have the ability to put out good stuff. And they also have the ability to put out stuff that will ultimately flop. It's fine. That's how life works. You can't always win. If you always win, you won't know how to get better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Emerald, you got anything for us?
I've always been more of a novel person than a comic book person.
Yeah.
She can't read pictures like we can.
No, I can't. I have a tendency to look at the pictures as opposed to read the pictures. I read words. I read words.
The fuck is a word?
It's those things in the bubbles.
Okay.
Yeah. Now just put more of those in there and get rid of the pictures altogether, and you have a novel. It's actually one. It's actually one of those things that, since really getting more involved, listening to Eric July and everybody else who's so into comics, it's one of those things I've kind of reflected on, because comics, so often you'll have this long series and they're not always written by the same person all the way through.
Right.
And that tends to lead to an entirely different type of evolution. Mm-hmm. Whereas in most cases with a novel, you start a series, it's the same writer from beginning to end.
Right.
So you don't have the same kind of weird change, because the person coming into it has this entirely new view on the characters in everything.
Right.
So for me, that's always been something a little odd to put my mind around, because I can sit down and I can read 10 novels by the same person, and thus the characters remain consistent all the way through. I mean, they may grow or change according to the story, but at the same, but someone else will sit down and read a comic, and all of a sudden the guy who didn't like this person back here all of a sudden likes this person over here because the new writer said so.
Right.
So it's an interesting difference that I'm kind of adjusting to.
Okay.
But when it comes to the stories and everything, they're basically the same thing. A lot of novels today are very formulaic, very bland, because they don't dare try to veer away and find something new, to bring in new material, new ideas, because they're and it's one of those frustrating things. Again, I end up going back to my old favorites as opposed to trying to try too much new, because I don't like to read the same story. Well, I mean, obviously I like to read the same story over and over again, but I don't like to read the same story with new names, and
Right.
I
Yeah,
don't
I
want
get
the
that.
same story presented as a new story. I
Okay.
want a new story.
So what's something that you've been reading recently that you're really enjoying?
I started rereading the Anne McCaffrey Dragon Rise of Pern novels.
Okay.
The first one, you start reading it, and I can kind of get the idea. I mean, in the age we are today, in the year 2022, I can imagine someone picking it up, reading the first few sentences, and thinking, "Oh my God, this is feminist schlock." But the amusing thing is when you get further into the book, you have not only the strong female character, you have an equally strong male character
Right.
to be her foil.
Okay.
So while they are not, you read through them, and to me, they come off in the first novel that you would read in the series. They are a little bit of a Mary Sue, both of them.
Right.
Because they are basically this power couple that have come together through these extraordinary circumstances and beat all of these narrow odds, with some minor changes in character. But because they're novels, you have another 10, 20, I don't even remember how many books are in the series anymore, in which they do change and grow and come into these, different and weird situations where they have to adjust, and they have to change and manage things. And for me, it's just what's Fenor's favorite flavor of ice cream? I don't remember. They don't even have ice cream. They don't have ice cream. They don't have ice cream on the planet. Because and so it's kind of especially, it's one of those things that irritates me, because they talk about, well, there are no female writers. You kidding me? Really, oh God, one of my favorite authors, a number of my favorite authors are female. I mean, you don't even have to go too much further than, Dragonlance, and you have Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman. Margaret Weiss is an amazing writer on her own, but if you put the two together, and
Right.
they're so much better. So and the Dragonlance novels are amazing novels. It's like reading a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, which it literally is a Dungeons and Dragons campaign.
Mhm.
And that's part of what makes those specific novels, but that's off on another tangent.
Yeah.
But those books, while the first one, seems derivative, it comes back around, it explains itself, and it literally sets up an entire deep world of lore. And it is a science fiction fantasy novel.
Mhm.
So it's got these things where these people think of this as magic. They don't understand it, but you go through, and then down the road you end up learning more. It was a decade. Wow. Okay. I gotta stop reading the chat. I'm terrible. No
Welcome
offense,
back to
Silver.
Twitch.
It's the Twitch streamer in you. Oh, we lost her.
Goodbye. Wait. That's not a good thing.
Oh no.
No,
So-
good lord.
No.
I'm mad as soon as I said welcome back to Twitch, and Odyssey is just like, hey, you can't say that.
She got excited and hit the left leave stream button.
I hit the login button.
Oh.
Oh.
And I realized at the moment that wasn't what I wanted to do. I wanted to hit the private chat button, so I stopped reading the chat.
Oops.
Because I can't help it. But yeah, so I mean it's part of what I love in a book. I mean, that's what I love in a novel, to be specific.
Right.
Another series I love is David Eddings. Well, I mean, there's like 4 different series by David Eddings I love. And that one involves strong female characters, strong male characters. The females are females, the men are men, and that kind of thing. But
Yeah.
it's exciting, and you just don't get that so much in modern novels
Yeah, there's
or
this
any modern stories.
Yeah, there's this big fallacy, right? That there's never been a strong female character that existed.
Oh my God.
And now all of a sudden we have to write every single thing has to have even in the Moon Knight trailer. Like I was watching it recently and I'm like, it was a recent TV spot that came out where the Oscar Isaac's running around panicking, and of course, the female character co-star comes and beats up this 200-pound man, and it's like
the thing that bothers me, what bothers me the most about that, I didn't see much of I didn't see much outside of the trailer. I just saw a clip of from the trailer itself, but I just chose not to subject myself to watching that shit because I watched the Miss Marvel trailer and that shit pissed me off. Made me laugh, but pissed me off.
Yeah.
And I'm just seeing people say, "Oh yeah, bait and switch, this, that, and the other." A strong woman, stuff like that. And I'm sitting here like, Moon Knight is honestly one of the most psychologically troubled superheroes in Marvel history. Right. And you could have dove into something real good about a character who's trying to figure himself out while trying to figure himself out, figuring himself out. And they just said, no. We're going to scrap all that. That sounds good and all. No, it's gone. It's out the window. Woman. And it's like, God, fucking, y'all didn't learn. You didn't learn.
Right. And it's like they do it so subtle because they know that real comic fans don't want to see that. They want to see Moon Knight. But then they'll slide in these little TV spots and they'll put that in, and or same thing with Halo. Halo seems to be centered around the female character, not Master Chief. And it's like, no, Halo's it's like everyone wants to see Master Chief. That's what everyone's signed up for. No one wants to see his face. They've already said they're going to reveal his face. You don't see Master Chief's face. What are you doing? In the fact that they come out and they just tell you, right? They tell you that they're pissing in your face. They don't even tell you it's rain. They just say, we're pissing on everything that you love about characters and we're making it our own, which, it's like at that point, just make your own character because they're not even the characters anymore. Just make a new one.
Takes too much work.
Right. And I would rather they ripped off the look of Master Chief and just call it something different. It's like, well, at least you change the name, but we know it's based on that. I'm just sort of sick of them, pretending that strong female characters didn't exist, but making them as if they're required to. The irony of it is, they want to put men down. They want to raise women up, but while portraying them as with male traits.
Well, basically, they want a strong male character with tits.
Right. That's what it seems like. Because even Masters of the Universe, you have what?
I was about to say, so they want a transgender character.
It's kind of what it seems like. It, and again, I don't care, but just them being strong for the sake of them being a woman or whatever is not good enough. If you're going to make that person the focal point, tear them down, like rip them to shreds to start, just like you would any man in that position. Every strong male character that's gone through trouble, like at the beginning, they are beaten to a pulp and they have to work hard. And the most like on the nose example, any Rocky movie, right? Any Rocky movie, he gets the shit kicked out of him in the beginning and he has to persevere, overcome. And at the end, after a lot of training and some self-reflection, he overcomes, usually also while getting the crap kicked out of him.
And the funny thing about that whole idea, like the whole premise, is like you don't even have to reach too far into the depths of entertainment to find, you know, female characters who do go through the trials and tribulations. I always recommend, it's a very hokey ass movie, but I always recommend Sucker Punch, because you see, you see girls who are pretty much abused their entire lives, and they band together and fight their way out.
Yep.
And I was just like, this right here, this is a pretty standard, you know, overcoming your issues, your trials, your tribulations, your problems and stuff like that. Like, it's the heroine's journey. Like it can happen. You just gotta make it happen. You can't be lazy with it.
I mean, if you want to know what pisses me off is in many of these cases, to make these women strong, they basically deny so many things of what makes them a woman.
Right.
For me, you know, when I think of a strong woman, it's not somebody who can beat up a man. It might be somebody who can outsmart a man, or somebody who can maybe, and I know it sounds wrong based on, you know, psychology and stuff, but manipulate a situation in such a way that she gets somebody else to fight for her.
Yes.
Or she's, you know, turns the situation in her way, because women aren't particularly physical creatures. I mean, you just look at statistics. When it comes to killing, we're more likely to use poison, partly because we don't want to clean up the mess, but also because we're not really directly confrontational. And they try to make it seem like that's wrong, that we should be spending more time being actually physically violent. And, you know, why when there's a smarter way?
Did you not know that's what they're trying to do with sports? Perfect segue. That's what they're trying to do with sports. It's like they're bringing in the transgender women to prove a point. Women can be strong, yes, so long as
they're a man.
The woman was once a man. Yes.
Right. And, you know, like, and I'll just to go to finish what I wanted. I was going to say exactly what you said. Like, this is again how women classically overpowered anyone. It wasn't the fact that they like got all ripped and like went toe to toe with a bunch of men. Like, they would, like, more often than not, they would get their shit kicked in and they would probably be killed. Right. Well, how they went about it was psychological warfare. And everyone knows, like, in a like they make this joke all the time that women like psychologically destroy like their opponents. They don't physically destroy them. Men physically destroy their opponents. That's they're inclined to physical violence. Women
they're two sides
not.
of the same coin.
Right.
I mean, and to backtrack just a little bit, that the book I was talking about, The Dragon's Riders of Pern, when you read the book, they become that kind of power couple. She has the cunning, the smarts, the manipulation, and he has the physical prowess. Now, he's not stupid. He can do a little bit of his own, and she can go too far. So they kind of, you know, there are points where they have to kind of rein each other in. But part of the best part of that novel is that they show how a strong female and a strong male, using their individual talents as gifted to them by virtue of their gender, can take over the world in so many words.
Yeah. And like, and just imagine for a second, like, you know, you take a book series like Game of Thrones. Like, imagine if Cersei was like this imagine if she had the build of like Brienne of Tarth, you know, like it would not come off the same way. She is the way she is because, well, she doesn't have the size to physically overpower her opponents. She is, what makes her such an evil character is that simple fact. She is a beautifully written character, in my opinion. Tyrion, he is a beautifully written character because he is not physically imposing, but his intellect is far greater than most of the other characters. Tyrion in the books I think is a far better written character than in the show, even though he's really good in the show and portrayed really well. But
in Peter Dinklage's defense, he couldn't exactly quite match up to the standards of who Tyrion is. Like he couldn't quite reach that height of
Oh God.
of intellect that or cunning that Tyrion Lannister could. It's a very lofty title to have. So there's that.
Yeah, it's just it's too bad because there's plenty of, and I always, when I talk to people about like strong female characters, I think I always go back to Sarah Connor. I'm like, have you ever seen Terminator 2? Have you ever seen Terminator? Like you look at both of those films and she's beautifully written. She starts off as this meek little waiter girl who has, is timid and doesn't like want to touch guns or anything. And by the end of Terminator 2, she's like, she's like incredible, dude. Like, and she goes through such a transformation, and it's not because it's not because she's a woman, but she also has to use, like in the first one, she has to use her brain, right? She has to use her brain to overpower and overcome certain things. She can't just go toe to toe with these machines. So it's like, again, beautifully written characters, strong women. They don't necessarily need to like beat the piss out of a man to prove a point or make men look meek and subservient. There's nothing wrong with men protecting women and being, being the way they are. For some reason, we've been, bamboozled to believe such a thing.
Let me eat the steak. It's fine. I'll eat the steak. I'll go hunt the steak, and the woman can cook it, and we'll both eat the steak. That's how it works.
Right. And that's honestly, and I'll kind of like wrap this whole point up in a little bow. It's one of the reasons I really liked Zero Dawn as a story for Horizon. The second one is like troubling because they really leaned into the strong female character. I like the story still. I think the story itself is written well, but they undermine men at every turn that they can. Like look at any male character in that game. They're literally a wet marshmallow. Like no, there's not like and the strong males that are in it, like when you first get to the Forbidden West and you talk to that guy about his story, the Karja that like went out west and like half his body was tattooed.
Oh yeah, they murdered him fast.
They killed him in 15 minutes. I went through his whole dialogue.
I wanted him to stay around. I thought he was cool.
Dude. And I said, and you can go back and look at my VOD. And I was like, watch, this guy is too cool. There's no way they're going to keep him alive. I hope they don't kill him here. But then they don't even know nothing. They're just like, oh, he's dead. They don't even like mention him anymore. It's just, oh, back to Aloy. And again, I like Aloy as a character, but the what they're doing in that game was just, I was like, I'm sick of this. Like, I'm sick of being told that men are just like, this is not how this world would be. Men would be out hunting. Women would be rearing children and taking care of stuff at home. That's just how it is now. There's exceptions to the rule, and that's fine. But let's be honest with ourselves. It's like I can only suspend belief for so long. But I mean, you've been playing. You played it for a while, Emerald. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I actually, I see where you're coming from with the men thing. But at the same time, I enjoy it. I don't have a huge problem with the game.
You hate men, confirmed.
I mean, yes, but I hate everybody. So, I mean, that's not really. I mean, men aren't really all that special in that case. I mean, sheep can verify how many times I walk out and come back in the house and say I hate humanity.
Okay,
so,
just a quick aside. Every time we go to Walmart, you know how to get the little rating thing. She always hits 4 stars, and I'm just like, oh, come on, it wasn't like nothing bad happened. She was like, yeah, but I mean,
it's Walmart.
Yeah, it's Walmart, and I was like, oh, come on, they got the 5 stars for a reason.
Right, because they think they're delusional and they think they deserve it. They're Walmart. They deserve 4. By virtue of being Walmart.
Yeah, continue your thought.
Sorry.
But no, I mean, and I don't feel like I'm that far into the game because I have an issue of trying to do everything. So I've only just gotten to the point where she's got to the I can't remember the name of the tribe. You hit the first one of their actually just gotten through the starting up Gaia and onto the other side of the mountain there.
That's where I started. That's where I stopped. I don't think I got through the mountain, but that's where because I was what's his face went back to make sure that handlebar mustache guy was okay.
Oh, and to go get go get the drunk.
Yeah.
But you know, I mean, on the other side of that, you get to, I mean, I've immediately strong male character that I'm helping him out, but at the same time, to me, it seems plausible that she would actually be where she is because she has knowledge that so many others don't have.
Yeah. Well, so I will say I don't have a problem with Aloy necessarily. I mean, even though her specialty comes from a device on her head that she found, like without that, like what would she be?
She found a Bluetooth.
Right. I mean, basically. Again, I don't have an issue. Like the game mechanics, great, fluid. The game systems, awesome. And for the most part, the story is good. It's their like portrayal of certain things. I'm just like, oh my God, like really? Like every single like hunter is led, you know what I mean? Like it, again, I know this is coming off as maybe slightly misogynistic, but like I don't hate women. I think
say it anyway.
It doesn't seem right that like men take such a sideline. Even the Sun King or whatever from Meridia is like this timid little like, even though he's kind of a creep, like he's not like
he is weird.
He's not like a strong like alpha. He's this
is that the guy in the like the leaf toga thing
with the big hat?
So, yeah, he's got
that fucking weirdo guy.
Yeah,
dude's shaped like weird, though.
He's shaped like a melted popsicle. I
feel like they made him more feminine this time.
Well, yeah, and even in the first one, I thought like, why is this guy acting like this? Just like, just act normal. And I don't know. It's something small, but like, luckily, the game overall is fun. The game, the game itself is
the mechanics are fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just such a smooth game. I mean. Playing it is just the way you can build out your character and so many options and I guess maybe because I'm a female I don't look at it as harshly as you might,
right?
Because for me I have played so many games where the men were the super cool strong guys that playing one where the woman's the super cool strong one once really doesn't bother me,
right?
Streets of Rage 2.
I mean, it's not like every game's like that right now. I mean, if they were to push it to the point that was every game, I'd start getting irritated because I don't like that either. I don't want it to always be woman great.
That's
but
the thing that really...
once or twice, it's just like when people get upset that she's not more attractive. It's like I get it, but at the same time, there are hundreds of super attractive video game characters out there. You can have one or two ugly ones.
Are people saying that Aloy's not attractive?
Oh yeah, I mean, in the beginning, I will say
like
she does have that Nikocado avocado face where it's really round in the bottom, and
like
for me, I kind of like to.
Like she's about to start singing the Popeye's chicken sandwich song.
See, I thought because I heard that one in the first game, and I thought like because everyone was all like, "Oh, she's all covered up and blah." I'm like, Aloy's got hips for days. Like she's got the hourglass like look, and like when she walks, it's like sway. I'm like, damn, girl. Like
her hair. I'm so jealous of her hair.
The hair physics are a bit much in the second one, but
I love them though. I'm watching her hair constantly, and it's like, oh god, that's so cool.
See, y'all over here talking about, oh, well, I think Aloy looks great, this, that, and the other. That's fine and dandy, but have you ever seen a gigantic Rapidash with glowing red eyes? And that motherfucker looks at you and yells, and you got to run for your dear fucking life before he sends you to the ER.
No, I'm fighting a Thunderjaw.
Fuck that. Play Pokemon. That game, Pokemon Legends Arceus. That game is brutal. It's like Berserk. It's like Berserk if some other random individual was Guts, and you just so happen to be a side character who was just experiencing the whole thing.
As for gender lock classes, I have no problem with gender lock classes. I don't care if they want to design their game that way. I'm fine with that.
Mhm.
I mean, if for some reason I wanted to play a class that is not feminine, I would go play a male character.
Yeah.
No big
That's
deal.
something. That's something that bothers me as well when it comes to a lot of video games do that. Like they do the gender lock class thing, and that's not something I'm just over. So no, fuck it. I mean, like if the gender lock class of like a white mage or something like that, or like a sorceress or a chef or some shit like that is a woman, and I wanted to play that class, I'd be like, all right, fine, fuck it, I'll just create another, character.
Go
It
be a
doesn't
woman.
bother me.
I mean, it's things like, so I was playing I played Final Fantasy 14
Mhm.
with a new race, and it was the Vera. And according to lore, Vera that you see out adventuring out in the world are mainly female.
Hmm.
You will basically only ever see female Vera, but I'm going to say a subsection of the community kicked up such a huge fit because there were only female Vera, despite the fact they also came out with a male only character class or character race at the same time.
Wasn't that
That they
the
had
big
to
dude?
put in new. Yeah, I don't remember. They were called. I don't remember them. I didn't care about them that much because I wanted to turn my character into a Vera. That's all.
Oh, the rabbit chick. Okay,
The
yeah.
rabbit chick, yes, with
Oh.
the ears. But yeah, I mean, and so many people kicked up a fit about it that they decided that they were going to add the males.
Nah, I
And
prefer
it's like,
the.
why? Why take that away from the class? I mean, especially in I mean, I get most people think more of MMO as opposed to MMORPG.
All right.
They
I
tend to leave off the RPG part.
one of the things I have to go ahead.
But I mean, it just pisses me off. I mean, it's like, why ruin that? Why?
What I was about to say is one of my favorite lores to point to when it comes to like gender lock races, for example, would be the Legend of Zelda, and that Gerudo can only be women. And the one anomaly happens to be the villain of the entire franchise. So I mean, I think that's great storytelling. Personally, it's just like all these women are just like, we don't trust men, or like Themyscira, except we exist, and like it's just great because they're like these gigantic, like pretty much gigantic, like muscular ass, toned out ass, yoked to the gills women who are just like, well, how do you reproduce? Well, we venture out. We go find a nice vo, which would be, a male, as they call them. Like they have vi as women and vo as males. And he's like, we'll go find a nice vo, sometimes a Hylian or mainly a Hylian, and just settle down with them, or we'll bring them to back or something like that, and pretty much have their way. And I'm just like, oh, well, you know what? That's some lore I can get behind. I'm cool with that. And it's just like, and then there was the one anomaly. What do you mean anomaly? Yeah, that gigantic angry green guy with the orange hair and the big nose is always trying to snatch the princess up and take her power and stuff like that. Oh, you mean again? Don't say his name. Don't say his name. But yeah, him. He was once one of. It's like every 100 years, if I remember correctly. Every 100 years is like
That's what Delirium said, or yeah.
Yeah, so that shit happens, and I'm just like, that's good storytelling. There's a reason why all the Gerudo are women, because once one guy pops up, shit goes haywire. That's why.
Yeah, I've never been in like I depending on what it is, I've never been one for like character creation stuff, or even like I always just generally choose like a male if I can, just because I don't know. I guess I'm a guy. I don't know.
I think so. I don't know. His beard says something.
Beard says so, but
I'm not a biologist, but I think
there you go. That's what we're looking for.
But like, yeah, I don't like stuff like that. Doesn't bother me. You want to have a race lock, like, class or whatever, fine, whatever. Like it doesn't, like, it's just not that important to me. But like stuff like that, where if it's like it has to do with lore and all that, that's cool. It's a great touch. Again, good writing. when people raise a stink about that stuff, it's like, I mean, I don't attribute it to any sort of like misogyny or whatever necessarily. I just think they're like weird elitist gamers.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they're elitist gamers. I just think they don't understand the joy of lore and
Right.
how
Sarkeesian.
and how
Yeah.
rules actually enrich an environment and spur you to be more creative, as opposed to, well, if you can just do anything, then everybody tends to be lazy and
Yeah.
kind of just ends up being themselves. Which, I mean, I know someone mentioned there's not a lot of RPG in role playing in RPGs anymore,
Yeah.
and especially MMOs. But I came from, when I was in my teens, I played a multi-user dungeon where there was a ton of role play,
Mhm.
and it was always one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
It was, a chance to step and kind of be someone else. But I mean, lore, it can
Be
be
damned.
greatly enriching to a story.
Right.
And yes, the storytelling and lore aren't the same thing, but lore helps you tell the story,
Oh,
and it helps
absolutely.
you set the ground rules so that I mean, lore for a story, for a game world, is like physics for real life.
Exactly. Exactly.
Without them, you don't know what's going to happen, and everything gets turned upside down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. That was like perfectly put. Yeah, it provides a backdrop for who people are or why things are happening. Yeah, and without that, you lose that sense of like place and purpose for a lot of what's going on. And yeah, and some games are really good with lore and bad with storytelling, and I think and I think a lot of games now are just bad with storytelling in general. They just don't know how to tell a good story. Like,
This
I
is
don't know.
true.
But I do want to move on to the next one. We kind of were segueing into it and then we stopped. But the big thing happening right now in like news and stuff, which has kind of come back around, is men or biological men sort of infiltrating on some levels female sports and taking medals away from them, and also even awards that have been person of the year or woman of the year rather, going to biological male, as
Not the first time either.
right.
Nah.
And I wonder, it's interesting to see, it's been interesting to see like someone like Caitlyn Jenner come out and talk about how like men shouldn't be in women's sports, while he accepted woman of the
Woman
year.
of the year, yeah.
Right. Like maybe you should relinquish that first, and then we'll take you seriously.
Yeah.
Sounding like Frost right now, you hypocrite.
Well, like I don't have a problem. Like I think I do have a problem with how this is going about. We can't talk about it as a society, right? I can't say that it shouldn't be acceptable. Then I'm labeled as like a turf, or not. I wouldn't be a turf, but like I would be a transphobe, and I hate women. When the exact opposite is true. Like women by and large have fought for a long time to have their place in the world, and now all of a sudden you're allowing people who were just recently male competing with other women, and they're like shattering records. Now I do believe there was an exception to that rule. I believe the weightlifter that was in the Olympics, I think she got beat by other women. I don't think that she medaled, or if she did, it was like third place. But like the recent one in college, Leah Thomas, I mean, she blew away the competition by like a full 2 or 3 seconds, and in swimming that's a long time.
It's huge. Yeah.
I mean, those are usually measured in the tenths of seconds. So
it's funny, that whole situation. Leah Thomas just blowing all the women out of the water, because Leah Thomas wouldn't even made like top 500.
No, she was like
in men.
435th or something.
Right.
Something like that, and it's just like that's pretty telling right there. It's like you're not good enough to be as good as like the top 10, so you instead go, well, you know what? I want to be a winner in some aspect. You then go through. At least this is what I'm like. This is what I'm honing in on. Like I don't know the whole process. I don't know Leah Thomas from a can of fucking paint, but the whole situation boils down to like, oh well, I'm taking L's left and fucking right against dudes. Fucking, I'm gonna go beat women like that. I don't know. It's a mentality that just doesn't sit well with me.
Well, I'll say that, if I'm being honest, I don't think that it's her reason for transitioning. I'm sure whatever she's dealing with has been going on for however long, but this isn't a conversation to have because I don't believe it's happening like on a systemic level. I don't think men are transitioning to women to take over the sport, but like it does present a problem to these college athletes, these women who've worked really hard in their class to compete against other women. And then when, even if it's just one or two, like they come in the results have been so drastic, right? 2 or 3 seconds, Fallon Fox, like breaking someone's skull. Like that's not like a broken nose. That's your fucking skull. Like, so the results of what's happening are pretty drastic in that it's really changing the outcomes of what's happened. So the conversation needs to be had. And it's not just as simple as, will we stand behind this person and we're going to make rules for this person? Like, no, that's not it, because you have, and it's not like, and the women have been really silent that she competed against. I wish they weren't.
Well,
But,
there's one that came out, but that's not going out for her. Or going
that was kind of like a half-ass like response. That one kind of bothered me because it's like a backpedal initially and then like a kind of soft forward step that just kind of like, it's just like, well, I respect this, that, and the other, so on and so forth. She is a strong person, but it's not fair that that it unfolded this way. And it's just like, no, if you're upset about it, speak up. You can't just half-ass. Like if you don't want this, like if you don't want this specific sphere where there's a specific demographic for it to be tarnished in that way, if you want it to remain a tradition that it's always been, you have to say something. Otherwise, it's going to get swapped. It's going to get switched up, and you'll never see another one of you in there again. It'll just slowly become what the dominating factor will be at that point.
Right. And like no one, like you can't read minds. Like if you're someone who's upset by what's going on, giving dirty looks to a camera is not enough. Like it needs to be like said. But the issue is like they're going to lose their scholarship because they're not being inclusive. They're not being sensitive to someone, but so who's going to be the martyr? Like that's the question.
Pretty much.
Who's going to give up their spot? Yeah. And that's and it's not easy for anyone. Not everyone wants to be the activist. And is the solution, like I thought, like, well, maybe the solution is like you have to be on hormones for a certain amount of years, because I would imagine after several years of being on estrogen or whatever, like your body changes drastically. You're not producing the testosterone you used to. Now, granted, there's still the biology there, but you're also, you're altering it. And I'm sure the muscle mass changes a little bit. Like I know the distribution of fat changes as well. Like, so is that what you do? You have to have been on hormones for at least 5 years, or I don't know, but it certainly is something that hasn't been. It's just like, oh no, go do it. You're a woman. It's like, well,
right.
Last year he wasn't.
The part that's troubling is if you have to be on hormones for at least 5 years, then when does that mean they're starting to transitioning if they're competing in college?
Well, I mean that's
a scary thought in and of itself.
Well, right, and honestly, maybe that's what kind of curbs it, because I think they should be waiting till they're adults anyway. I mean, at least 18 until you can make an actual informed decision. You know how many times, like the fact that kids are doing this is absurd.
Yeah.
Like that they're allowing kids to do it is absurd. Even 14, 15, 16, still too young in my opinion. Your hormones are racing, going nuts. I was an emotional wreck when I was a fucking 16-year-old. I was being led around by my dick at every corner, and just, you just don't think clearly. And, you're just never in the right frame of mind. I don't even know if 18 is necessarily the right time, but it's certainly something you need to consider after you've left high school and you like have sort of cleared that like puberty wave. Like there's just too much going on. And
Right.
And at that point you're technically an adult and you can make your own decision, you know? So that would also real quick, and sorry, and I meant to add this. You're like, so if that curbs like that, you know, if you have to be on it for like 5 years, if you can't start transitioning until you're 17, 18, well, then it would keep these male athletes out of, you know, the women's sports.
Right. I don't know. The thing that throws me for a loop is like you don't see it the other way around. Like you don't see women transitioning to men and then competing in men's sports.
Yeah, they're not stupid. Is it?
Like I'm not gonna be one of these people that's just like, you know, well, I'm gonna tiptoe dance around and stuff like that. Biology is biology. I'm not gonna sit here and fake the funk. All right, like it just is what it is. Like men cannot women can't compete against men the same way that men cannot compete against women, regardless to you going through the transition or not. Someone will always have a clear advantage over the other in some aspect.
Yeah.
Like men are biologically physically more capable than women, and then women are, you know,
on average, absolutely right. There are some that can compete against men.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, in some aspects, there are women that can out flex or out agile a dude because, you know, they're pretty much they're quicker, they're lighter, they're more flexible or something like that. They're smarter in some aspects, or in a lot of aspects, to be honest. But like, it's not. It just is what it is, and just sitting here simply putting blinders on to the whole situation for the fear of being like, you know, oh, well, I don't want them to cancel me or I don't want them to take away my scholarship. It's just you pandering just for the sake of like out of fear. What fear? What fear? It's fact.
It's one thing. I mean, in the whole conversation, I think something nobody really stops and looks at is the fact that when you look at who transitions and which direction it goes, most of them tend to be male to female.
Yeah.
There are female to male.
Yeah.
But most of them tend to be male to female. Which is, I mean, I would be really curious to see the psychological breakdown, I guess you could say, of how and why. And how that then goes into the whole, I mean, you do hear some people say trans men are men, but what is the one you hear the most? You hear trans women are women.
Right.
So it's kind of I'm trying to figure out how to put it.
You're getting canceled anyway, so just
yeah. I basically
go.
assume I came pre-canceled.
He's getting so canceled that they're starting to pick her up out of her seat already. You can see it in the image there.
But you know, it's I do think there's something to be said, especially when you hear the talk that goes back to male privilege and all that, and it's like, you know, if there really is all that much male privilege, why would people willingly subject themselves to being the less privileged of the group? Why do they want that? Why do they want to be the quote weaker unquote sex?
Right.
And where does that come from? And it's, I mean, for me, and this might get me canceled in some other circles, to some degree, transsexuality makes sense to me because physiology and psychology do not always align.
Yeah.
What bothers me is the fact that it's not more seriously treated.
Right.
I do feel like a lot of it has to do with a poor integration into the poor integration of interests, a variety of interests, sexual interests, I guess. No, not sexual. Gendered interests into the self, the idea that I can like cars and be a woman,
Right.
or I can like boxing and be a woman. It seems like so many people have it set in their mind that if your little girl starts playing with Matchbox cars, she must really be a boy.
No,
And
she's just
no,
Danica Patrick
she
who's in a good
just
racer.
likes Matchbox cars. And I mean, of course, part of it is the current society's over obsession with sexuality, but that's a
Yeah, that shit's weird. It's weird.
Yeah. I mean, I can agree. I agree fully. And I agree with what you said. You know, I don't want anyone to ever listen to this or anything that I've ever say, or if I ever tweet and think that like, I don't think trans people are valid. I think that it happens. I think that sometimes these things get mixed up. I think that the treatment for it is like, again, I don't think it's, well, I don't know if closely monitored is the right way, but I don't think people get the help they need the way they need it. It almost seems like, I mean, with the advent of like TikTok, it seems to be becoming more like these weird trends where like it's trendy to be that way, when like people who really are this way and
Right.
and like want to work through it and actually make the full transition and do these things. Then you have people who are like, you know what, and I'm a girl. And it's like, no, you have facial hair and you like you're making no effort to be a woman, you know. And like, again, I think that there's actual people are actually not suffer, but they deal with this and it's hard for them. And it's not, the care is not easily accessible, or they're being told at a very young age, well, you just got to transition now. You just got to cut it off or cut them off, or, you know, have a hysterectomy. And it's like, whoa, like this is like, you know, pump the brakes, you know, like we need to, like, these are decisions adults need to make after years of treatment. And it's just not, it's like, no, just go. Like, just make the choice that you got to do it now, because if you don't, you'll be sad. And everyone
Right.
ignores the stories of detransitioning, you know, like they ignore the fact that like someone went through something, it was really quick, the treatment was like haphazardly done, and then all of a sudden, you know, 3 years down the road, they're trying to transition back, and it's hard. They've already, you know, they've polluted their bodies with hormones that don't belong there, and they, you know.
And people ignore the statistic of the unfortunate side effect of deleting your own save file. It's a pretty high percentage
Right.
when it comes to that.
Yeah. And you know, and I agree, you know, you had said that the society is over sexualized now, and I 100% agree with that. Talked about it many times about how, you know, things like that, you know, sex and all that stuff is just glorified in ways that, like, I think are hurting the current culture. And I've said on many occasions that I think that a lot of the work we can do, as, you know, me being a new parent, you guys maybe being future parents, and all the parents that are out there, like, this is definitely a culture war. I don't say that lightly because, you know, it can be inflammatory, but like, it's slowly being eroded and hijacked by people who could care less about actual family building. And and that is the problem. And it's, everyone always wants these, like, well, where's the policy? Like, what are the politicians going to do? Like, stop looking to them. Stop looking to these criminals to help out. It starts with you. It starts with me at my house, talking to my kids on a daily basis and just interacting with them. Kids are just a sponge. They're looking to learn.
all the time.
I like how it's spun back over to politics, because this is true. The politics are trash, but like get the government out. But my whole thing is like, that's pretty much it. Is like, everybody lives in the age of me, as opposed to, you know, establishing something that can be called a legacy, something that can be good for the future of, I guess, Earth, if you want to look that far into it. But ultimately, it, like, people don't think they don't stop and think to themselves, well, I want to be happy later on in my life. What can I do to start taking those steps to that?
Right.
Like, it starts with, like, you know, self-betterment. Like, you like our favorite Hale Lobster would say, clean your room, go lift something, go, you know, work out or something like that. Find a hobby, learn guitar, draw something. And from there, you can then move forward and like, you're taking care of yourself. Other people, they take an interest in you and you start taking care of them. You build something off of that. And as the government pretty much unfolds, it's just like, well, no, the government's pretty much like, we need you to be reliant on us, otherwise we're invalid.
Yeah, and it's just going to make people's lives more miserable. And
absolutely.
And people just they dismiss the fact that they have any control over it, right? Because you have
plenty
of TikTok. You have TikTok influencers telling you that you're a victim constantly. You have people on Twitter telling you're a victim constantly. And now you're starting to have teachers in schools tell you that you're victims, and they're lining up kids based on skin color. They're telling you that as a white kid, you need to apologize to people of color. None of these people have done anything, or there's no way of telling if there was some trauma caused by anything, like we're just here, just existing. Every single one of us. I just woke up this morning and wanted to learn how to add numbers, and here I am, kids learning about like queerness and all that other stuff. And it's like, wait a minute, my kid doesn't even understand why he has to go to bed at 8 o'clock.
Right.
He doesn't need to be trying to figure out identity, And
it's funny because people at the same, I've always found it funny, and people seem to think kids are simultaneously stupid and the smartest creatures ever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's wall, or if your kid just is so smart, they're going to understand everything instantly. And it's like, kids are way smarter than people give them credit for, but they're kind of like a computer.
Yeah,
they know exactly what you put in them and nothing else.
Right. They don't, it's not even that. Like kids learn passively. Kids are passive learners. They don't, like, especially, I mean, just if you look at how any kid learns like language, they're not like, you don't teach your kid in front of a whiteboard or, chalkboard, like how to speak. Like they're watching you. And like, I can tell like my kids, how they act, like, and how they act out. I've noticed like similarities with how I might get mad. Like they emulate everything because that's the only way they know how to learn. And it's, it's their neuroplasticity. It's their ability to adapt and learn and change at exponential rates. It's why you teach kids multiple languages at a young age. And if you put this stuff in kids' heads early on, if you talk about, and again, and I don't want anyone to confuse me. If because like a footnote here, if a kid has two dads and you're asked to talk about like your family in class, that's totally different than trying to put ideas of identity, queerness, and transness or whatever in kids at a young age, like unsolicited, or talking about what you prefer in the bedroom. That's totally unnecessary and detrimental to a kid. They don't need to hear about that. It was funny in Kindergarten Cop, but that was it. It was a movie. You don't need that.
Right. It's funny. The whole thing is like, oh, well, what if the kid has two dads or two gay dads or two, lesbian moms or something like that? It's, all right. Okay. How do I introduce them? You say, oh, well, these are so-and-so's parents. It's that easy. Right. You don't have to go into the deep analysis of somebody else's relationship.
Right.
And in order to have things make sense. Like, oh, well, the kid asks, oh, well, my mommy says that, it's a boy and a mommy and a daddy that makes kids. And it's like, well, that's true. But these two, they have this kid. How'd they get the kid? Adoption or, surrogacy or something like that. Like, it's
not a bridge for all we know.
Yeah, like a fucking stork. But like, it's not something that's it's not something that has to be overcomplicated just in order, or over explained in order for a kid to grasp the idea. Like, kids aren't dumb, they just don't know a lot, and that's why they ask that question, why. You don't have to tell them, hey, what you have to do is respect this person's pronoun. No.
Yeah.
Like that whole respect thing comes by way of being a decent person. Like, you're a decent person, people will treat you decently.
Right.
It's that easy. You don't have to be in their face with your religion, your sexuality, your gender, or whatever, what the hell have you, your race. None of that shit matters ultimately. Like,
Right.
just be a decent person is what it boils down to.
Right. And even more like simply, I mean, that's about as simple as it gets. And I guess, a sort of tangent to that is like, stop teaching kids what to think. Just teach kids how to think. Teach kids how to look at details critically and apply it to their own life. But you don't need to be putting ideas in kids' heads that are like, well, this is what you need to think because of XYZ. No, everyone's different. Everyone has their own personal experiences, and that will shape their worldview. It's toxic to kids to tell them what they need to think, and that will trickle down into how they treat. Again, if they're going to observe how things happen and how you do things and how you talk to people, and that will all filter into how they are. It's truly is amazing how adaptable kids are. And like you said, like kids aren't stupid, but they're not like brilliant either. They're just somewhere in between. They have amazing ability to adapt things.
I mean, the best gift you can give a kid is to teach them how to teach themselves.
Oh yes. That's human for sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But, kids especially, because they have so much life ahead of them to learn, and you give them those tools, and you start giving them those tools young, and they'll go so much further than you could have ever imagined. I mean, they will do things before they're 10 that will astound you, just because, you get old, you get set, and you don't think of things a certain way, and this 10-year-old who may not entirely understand what they're looking at, but has enough of it, will walk up to you and say something, in a new way, and you're like, "Whoa, I didn't think about that."
Yeah.
And before you know it, you got
Learning
something
from the
new.
kid.
I mean,
yeah, that
I
too.
mean, kids teach us so much.
Oh, they do.
realistically. I mean,
Yeah. My kid has taught me so much about myself.
I nannied for my best friend's kid for the first 5 years of her life. So, I was basically her other mother. And even now, she will do something or say something, and my friend will pick up the phone and say, "You know what? She's almost your kid." Because the thing she said is not something that came from her, and it's not something that came from her father. It's a me thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wonderful. It's a wonderful, beautiful thing. And people, and the unfortunate part is a lot of people miss out on their kids' youth because of like working, or because they're tired, or because they don't have time. And it's like, well, guess what? These kids aren't going to love you unconditionally for very long. And even my 4-year-old, he's almost 5. 4-year-old is, I went and got him out of bed this morning, and he was calling for his mom. And then I just walked in there, and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing here? Get out of here." And I was like, "Whoa, hi, good morning. Good to see you." But like, they just like 2 years ago, he was just like all snuggles, always wanted to be with me. And he has his moments now, but they're slowly fading, and they're becoming farther and farther apart.
Because they're becoming their own people.
Yeah.
That's the hard part.
It's
but if you're doing it right, that's what happens.
Yeah, no, exactly. They want a kid. You don't need to teach kids how to be independent. That's what they want to do. You need to give them the skills to be independent. That's your only job as a parent. And and also as a parent, like you're supposed to be their parent. Like being their friend comes much later. And I think people get lost in that. They want to be their kid's friend for so long, and be their bestie. And it's like, that's not what they need. They need a parent. They need guidance, and they need boundaries, because when they leave your custody, when they leave your care, they're not going to know how to find their own. And this is the time they learn. But people get caught up in wanting to be like just the best all the time. It's like, that's not it.
I mean, one thing you have to accept is when you go in, you're going to fuck up your kid somehow.
Oh yeah.
That's a guarantee. You just have to try not to fuck up your kid in the worst possible ways.
I'll let you know this. I'll let you know this right now. If the worst that's ever happened to you with your kid is that you happen to blink once and all of a sudden they're outside their crib, you lucked out.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. I'm squirming in my chair. I didn't want to get up to use the bathroom, but I have to. I'll be right back, guys. Sorry about that.
No problem.
But I did want to move into the kind of the next like last-ish topic. We were the Disney like Pixar walkout because it kind of ties to what we were just saying.
Thing. Yeah.
Yeah, go. But you go ahead and pee, and we'll just sit here and
okay.
We'll vamp.
Banter. No, the hamster in my computer isn't dying. It's working a little overtime at the moment. It'll be fine.
Something to that degree. I've been sitting here drawing the whole time and speaking. I know I can multitask. I'm not gonna lie. Oh, also been drinking tea. Huh?
We're drinking. Oh, right, your bottled tea.
Yeah, I got tea.
I had to chase down a dog because they just refused tonight. Cooperate.
Yeah, nah, your dogs are weird.
That's so true.
Or rather, our dogs, since that's where we are.
He's not worse than Walmart. I give him 3 or 4.5 stars just because he's not Walmart.
Me?
Shags.
Oh, I was about to say, what the hell?
Robust said, "Oof, bad podcast host got up to piss. Worse than Walmart."
Oh no! I think he's thinking Yellow Flash. Yellow Flash would do that shit easy. Yellow Flash would be like, hold on, I gotta go pee. We're like, you motherfucker! It's your stream.
Yellow Flash will drink so much he kind of has to.
That's fair. And he'll talk about beating the brakes off of people. It's funny.
That's true. But they give him $100 a shot now, don't they?
Yeah, I mean the whole idea behind that is still stupid. Like if you want to give people a challenge, you go, okay, cool, $500 a shot.
Don't worry, Shagsworth. I told them you get at least 4.5 stars just because you're not.
Thank you. Listen, sometimes the coffee goes right through me. All right, it's just
get it.
If you've been to any of my streams, you know that I load up on coffee on every stream. I can't have one. I can't have a stream without it. So it gets right through me, and it's my favorite mug.
Oh no, I get it, dude. I get it. My bladder is like the size of a shot glass. No, my bladder is the size of a thimble with a hole in it. Like it every now and then, I'm just like, oh, you know what? I probably shouldn't stream because I'm probably gonna get up and pee like 6 times. I drank a lot of either coffee or some water or some tea or something like that. That's always
basically don't go to a movie with him. He ends up going to pee once at least during the movie.
Oh, dude, I can't. I'll like nearly piss myself in a movie. I cannot. I was actually nervous. I think in what movie did I watch recently? It was long. Maybe it was like an Endgame. I was worried that I was gonna have to get up and go to the bathroom in it, but I toughed it out. I was just like, I can't. I gotta sit here.
Do you guys not go to the bathroom before you go to the movie?
Never have to.
No, yeah, me either. I don't have to.
Like, here's the thing when it comes to me using the bathroom is like, every time I go to like a movie theater, I'm like, all right, popcorn and a drink. It's the standard, right? And like, I'm like, all right, well, I'll take a couple sips. Every fucking theater is cold, and when it's cold, it makes me have to pee faster.
Yeah.
Like if I'm out working, like if it's hot out and I'm working or something like that, I'm taking sips of water in between and stuff like that. I'm like, all right, well, I can tough it out. I'm just out here like I'm looking like one of those fucking Gatorade commercials. Everything's black and white, like grayscale, and I'm just sweating like green or purple or some shit like that. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm toughing it out. Then I go back inside. I'm like, you know what? I do got to go to the bathroom.
I want to acknowledge. I want to acknowledge Amarada's like, okay, like it was a detail that she wished she knew beforehand. Like, this might be a deal breaker.
No, it's just one of those.
This is a deal
my
breaker.
Ex-husband used to say that if it was cold, all the heat in your body would rush to your bladder and colon to keep those warm. So that's why he had to go to the bathroom whenever it was cold.
That sounds...
And that would make him warmer, and I
got you.
I just wonder if it's a male thing,
I'll Google it right now.
Sounds like some shit we'd say.
It's just like, as a woman, if I have to pee really bad, I can't bend over.
Robust Delirium, is that Geek Grind coffee? No, and I'll tell you, some people have been disappointed with the coffee I drink. But when I really treat myself to coffee, I pick up Black Rifle coffee, and I know people have an issue with them. I don't. They are local here in Salt Lake, and they do a lot of great work with local vets. I understand people's plight with them. I think people overreacted personally, but yeah, Black Rifle's been great, and they have a store like 10 minutes down the road from me, so I'll go there and do some writing or some graphics work sometimes. And
Black Rifle's whole
least-
situation was the vaccine thing, right?
No.
No, it was Rittenhouse. Someone had commented about, or like they had made a comment about how they don't support what he did, and I think everyone just dragged them because they're vets and they're supposed to be all pro 2A, and I think a lot of stuff was taken out of context with it.
I mean, they said. I mean, normally I look into those things pretty deeply, just because I don't ever want to distance myself from a company that's trying to do good, and isn't a big corporation or something.
Right.
But when they came to the point where they said they don't want customers of XYZ kind, I don't remember the exact quote. That doesn't sit well with me. So.
No, and I don't remember the exact quote. I just know I think that whole thing was really touchy for a lot of people. Yeah. I think by and large that company does a lot of good stuff for our war vets, both active and retired, and like
more than the VA.
Right. And I honestly, like, it's just one of those things where I'd have to go back and look at the interview again that he gave where, he said what he said, but I'll be honest,
it was probably just a bad idea for him to do that interview because it wasn't going to come out positive for him, basically partly because of who the interview was with.
Right. But yeah, that's something I'll have to look back into, but it was, that's the coffee I drink, but I'm always looking for new coffee ideas. So if you guys got good coffee ideas, let me know.
I like Krigler coffee.
Oh yeah. You know what? I actually meant to buy some of his, and I just haven't yet. A lot of like streamers do, or creators have like coffee brands now that I've been meaning to
get the Gamer Blend.
Yeah, the Gamer Blend's really good.
Gamer Blend,
but,
okay.
Yeah, it's we usually have a bag on hand. Our bag ran out and ours hasn't shipped yet, and I'm really depressed because I haven't had.
Right now, the house is coffee. It's like the world of Berserk, with it's only like maybe like 24 beans total left in the machine right now, and fucking like it's like the eclipse is going on right now. There's no Casca situation. Thank goodness. I don't want to lose my arm or my eye, but it's almost a red wedding right now, and it's pissing me off.
And Sheep will tell you I'm not so good if you don't give me my coffee.
Yep, I had to run out and get some coffee yesterday, and it was like later in the day because shit got busy. Nonetheless,
smart man.
I do have the Google, I guess, answer as far as which I'm going to switch from Chrome eventually. As far as why I have to pee when it's cold, it says here, cold weather will result in your body needing to filter more blood more blood than normal as a greater volume of blood rushes to your vital organs at a higher frequency. This results in you having to pee more often. Sure, it's an annoying process, but rest assured that's perfectly normal.
Weird. I've never experienced that.
Interesting.
Maybe you don't have any vital organs. You ever thought about that, Squid?
Do eldritch gods have vital organs, or is it just?
I mean, no.
The only vital organ is the Cthulhu corn horn, but it doesn't need blood. It just makes blood appear.
Well, I mean, I guess you could say it does need blood, but not my blood.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
You jab somebody.
True.
Unicorns are vicious motherfuckers.
Oh hell yeah. Never fight with something that can stab you with its head.
Yeah, it's terrifying. But so segueing into the Disney stuff.
Yes.
I mean, we all know that Disney has been on the free fall for a bit now between their animated stuff and Disney Wars. But it just I don't know. It just seemed when they staged that quote unquote walkout the other day in solidarity with the Alphabet Army, in regards to, I believe, the quote unquote don't say gay bill out of Florida.
Parental rights bill.
Parental rights in education. Yeah.
Right. So again, it's being misrepresented by many media outlets as something that they want to hate gay people and marginalize gay people. It's not the case. We've already
It's
sort of
somehow not teaching your children what gay people are, or well, not just gay people, not teaching your children what sexual orientation and gender spectrum and etc. are right out the gate means they're going to be evil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It I don't know. Again, we kind of touched on this earlier, but it's just a bunch of virtue signaling from this company. And what's weird is that it doesn't matter how many times someone tries to explain to people this is not what the bill says. What you're doing is now what you're doing is you're supporting child grooming, and that might be a bit extreme, but you have to understand what it is a stretch. And to be fair, again, what's happening is, again, it's like cultural erosion, right? We're bringing things into children's minds that don't belong there right now. And we're forgetting what the purpose of schools are. I mean, we can get into what the actual purpose of schools are, but but I mean, if we're just keeping it simple right now, teachers are supposed to teach your kids how to add, teach them about history, teach them about physics or whatever, literature, exactly, the classics, financial literacy, which is actually another bill that he just signed in to law. They now have to graduate with passing financial literacy. So go Florida. But this is what schools are. You're supposed to be teaching the kids. You're not supposed to be teaching them about this other stuff. It's confusing, especially K-3. I'm all for sex education as far as education goes. I'm way against the crap that they're doing in California, where they're teaching pleasure centers, both vaginally and anally. That shit has no place in education. If you really need to know about that, go on Google.
It takes half the fun out of being a teenager.
Right? Yeah, that makes you a bigot then, Shagsworth. I'm afraid that this is the first and last episode that I'll ever be. No.
I just, again, it comes back to the over sexualizing of our culture too. None of this stuff has a place. Parents are supposed to have the talk with their kids. I do not want any stranger talking to my kids about pleasure and sex or any of that. That's I guess it's my responsibility if I need to, but my job is to teach my kids safety in these things. So whether my kid is gay, straight, whatever, it's my job to teach them that there are certain ways things are done and ways to be safe about them to prevent pregnancy, STDs, all that stuff. And it certainly does not need to be brought up at a young age, K-3. And the fact that companies like Disney are basically saying we want that is it's abhorrent in my opinion.
The amusing thing is to begin with, they sent internal letters saying we weren't going to be involved in that because we don't want to turn it into a political football issue.
Yep, JPEG signed off on that. Well, that was JPEG's email.
Yep.
Yeah, a couple people get a little upset and start whining, and on Twitter of all places, and all of a sudden, no, we better reverse that because apparently it's really going to hurt us.
Yeah, just pandering to this very, very loud minority, because I think sensible people, normal people, aren't thinking about this. This isn't an issue, and I don't even think it. And I think you guys maybe have agreed. I don't think this is a systemic issue. I think it's popping up in places. I think that there are teachers, and we've seen it on TikTok. Libs of TikTok is great with showing us these weirdos trying to indoctrinate your kids with these weird gender ideologies and pronouns and all that crap. Like, we see it now. Do I think it's at a catastrophic level that's irreversible? No. I think it's good. It's highlighting that parents really need to be involved with their children's education, being present at meetings, going to conferences, being aware of what's in the curriculum. I don't know if a law is necessary. Like, maybe that's a bit much, but it's
government. So
right. It's just people's inability to like self-govern, right? Like,
yeah, that's the biggest problem.
Right. People have just been told like, no, you got to rely on that guy. You got to rely on the guy in a suit who doesn't even care who you are.
Want to know something funny?
Find a way to take your money.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like an aside that still relates to this, as far as, oh, well, you got to rely on that person to teach your kids how to do this, that, and the other. The one take I ever agreed with Ninja on is, I'm not your kid's teacher. I'm not your kid's parent. So I don't feel like it's my job to, educate them. I don't feel like it's my job to teach these kids what's right from wrong. That falls on the parents.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, fucking that makes sense.
Right. I came to
holy shit. I agree with that. I agree with Twitter, the human. Like, the dude.
The human.
Like, I will say this much. He has good taste in energy drinks and one good take. The rest of it is just him being stupid. But like, he couldn't have said it any better. It's like, it's not my job to govern your kids. It's the parents' job. Those are your kids, your children. You brought them into this world. It is your job to raise them to exist in this world.
Right.
That's one of the things that irritates me when people use the kids, the children. Won't you think about the children as an excuse to censor things? Well, how about you think about your children and don't let them watch it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. And I said, I was, when he said that and everyone was getting their tits in a twist, I was like, no, Ninja's absolutely right in this. He is not responsible for what your kids do and what they consume. He's going to do him. Like, oh, well, he knows what his audience is. Yeah, who cares? He plays video games, and he's never been like a G-rated streamer. Like, as long as he's been, he's been. Go ahead.
Oh, I was about to say, and Amarath knows what her audience is. I mean, the dichotomy is astounding.
Right. Yeah. It's insane. Again, any chance that people get to pawn off responsibility to someone else, they're going to do it. Yep. And that's not the way through. It's through fucking hard work and perseverance, man. Being a parent sucks. Like, I mean, it doesn't suck. It's amazing and beautiful and a magical time in your life, but it's
also fucking hard.
Yeah, it beat you to the ground, like emotionally and physically at times. And people don't realize that's like, they get into having kids and they think it's going to be like some YouTube, like some YouTuber's fantasy life. My wife loves watching those women clean on YouTube and like raise their families. And I'm like,
the family YouTube channels.
Yeah, which are cute, but like, oh my God, like, talk about fake.
Yeah, I don't like it. I'm not a fan.
I couldn't imagine spending that much time online.
One, two. I'm personally, I'm not one to put my family on the internet like that. It seems weird.
Yeah, well, it's totally exploiting them, and people want to make their money that way. That's their business. But like, I'm certainly not gonna, like, I put myself out there enough, and I've had my son on my stream, but like, that's about as much as I'm willing to do. And and I'm not there's something about like having a little privacy and like doing stuff like just like
you and your family.
Well, I mean, more importantly, what about those kids? They don't have a choice in the matter. Do you really think they want every goddamn moment of their childhood? They don't even get to really have a childhood
because they're known as internet celebrity.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of have to always be on in that internet performance way, because no matter, I mean, and it's actually a law of physics. Being observed changes the results. I mean, when you're being watched, things change. Even when you don't know you're being watched, things change.
Yeah.
So you're not letting them have a childhood. And do you really think that kid wants that fit they through when they were 6
Sorry.
to be all over the internet for the rest of their life?
Nope.
No.
Yeah, it's yeah, and it's I find it disturbing too that like people are so cavalier about this childhood development. Like they're willing to, and some people, most of the people I feel like who are so loud about it don't have kids, first of all, but also like even people with kids, I find that they're just being so cavalier about exposing kids to this. It's like, have you thought for a second how this might affect them? You know, like you're applying like rules of adults to young kids, and they're just not the same.
They never do. Like they never think about how it affects the kid. Like I forgot the one chick's name who like she exploited her son's sadness for their dog going through surgery for views and stuff like that. And the dumb broad decided to not cut out the part where where she's trying to get the like the thumbnail image. Like she's telling hey, like, you know, look at
Look
like
sad,
make this
look
face.
sad.
Yeah, look sad, make this face stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just
And
like,
the poor
you know,
kid, he's like, I am sad.
yeah, the poor kid's already, he's probably gonna lose his dog, and now his mother's telling him to feel bad about it. Like that's traumatizing.
Oh my God, yeah. And there was even there was a YouTuber that my wife watched for a while, and she had adopted this Asian boy, and
Angelina Jolie?
No. Then like a month later, they discovered that he had like some form of autism. And she gave him back. Like returned him like a shirt that didn't fit.
That receipt.
Yeah,
what did
dude,
that
and
receipt
it was
say? What's the warranty on that?
Bro, and like totally canceled. Like her channel died because for some reason she put that shit out in the open. Like it just didn't work out. It's like, no, you didn't want to raise a kid with autism, and you're a coward, and you're an awful human. You can just come out and say it. Like I could not believe it. But yeah, her channel's dead, and I think she just deleted herself off the face of the earth.
I mean, there's so many of those. That's the scary thing. There. I mean, there's another one where the couple put their dog down. Is violent, and there was no way they could rehome him. And I will never understand these people.
No, it's so twisted. They carry around, or they have children like they're accessories, and
pets like they're accessories. I mean, they can't even love their dog. So how can I expect them to treat a child any better?
Oh, it's awful. And this is the problem. And the hardest part about changing what we need to change in the future is the fact that this is a generational solution. It's not a policy solution. Like I said earlier, this is something that's going to take time, but you need to teach your kid. Like you need to be present, and not even just your kid, like being a part of like even like a big brother, big sister program. If you can be that person for someone and teach them the value of like just like grooming, and learn how to like have like basic social skills. You know, teach a man to fish. If you can do that for people, you will be the hero. You will and teach people to not be the victim. For Christ's sake, you live in the best time ever. And all people can do now is just victimize themselves. It's like, this is not helping you. No one's coming to help. It's either you or no one, pal. Sorry to say.
Yep. You can't rely on daddy government to swoop in and save everybody, because they don't care.
I was actually about to say that. Is like, if people actually stop I feel like if people stop victimizing themselves, they'd see through the fallacies of the government and just be like, hey, there needs to be more pushback against this.
Yeah. And it's not to say too, like I've benefited from certain government programs in the past because of like hard times financially. When my second son was born, my wife had to stop working, and she was out of a job for 4 months, and I had to like, it was crazy. So we had to go on food stamps, and it saved us. It saved us. So like, well, I understand like what's wrong with these certain systems. If we can teach kids how to, or if we can teach people how to not abuse these things and not be reliant on people, and learn to take responsibility for the good things and the bad things in our life, this is how things are going to change. And like you said, if we can, like, people start to see through the bullshit once they release the victim mentality. They become empowered. They realize like the there's no end to like what I can do with my life. People making excuses all the time. Oh, the top 1% and this and that. I'm like, dude, stop.
Even
go ahead.
I was about to say, even barring the whole government, barring the government as far as this whole concept goes, like, people stop victimizing themselves, they'll realize that, Disney, Google, Apple, all of these, major corporations, they only pander your way because they want your money. And it's like, all right, you want our money, but you don't have to pander. You just put out good products. That's all.
Right.
And as opposed to like falling back on like, who you are as an individual, is like, oh, well, I'm whatever the fuck Vida Ayala is. And you got to respect me because of it. I'm like, no, when you do stuff like that, you're further proving that you don't actually care about what spaces you're in, be it through anything media, like entertainment wise, or like as far as politics goes, like everything is just like it. You're just proving that you don't really value what you want to be a part of, or what you're trying to be a part of. You're just there for the sake of control or validation.
Yeah. I don't know. I get bummed out most days because I try and spend less time with Twitter and do like short bursts and then jump off, because I don't think it's an accurate representation of the world.
Not. It's it's not even an accurate representation of Twitter. They're about 20% of about 20% of the accounts, out of the millions of accounts that are on Twitter, only about 20% are really active.
Right.
So you're hearing from a minority of a minority, literally. I mean, the minority of the world has Twitter, and then you're hearing from a minority even of those people.
Yeah, pretty much the demographic of people that use Twitter globally, it's less than 10% of people use Twitter, and even less people on Twitter actually use Twitter.
Yeah,
true. And then the algorithm makes that circle even smaller because it's just feeding you things that like
the people you follow, and not even always those. And I mean, the limited scope that you get from looking at Twitter, it's like Chappelle said, Twitter isn't real. It's not. It doesn't show you the reality of anything, not even what general people think. It's a nice way to and honestly, I don't find myself needing a break from it too often, just because of the way I use it.
Mm-hmm.
I've always used social media weird. But it's a great way to connect with people if that's what you're looking to do. It's a great way to see other sides of an argument, but you have to remember that just because there are even 10,000 people on there that have this really bad, terrible idea, it's not real. It's a minority. It's not an accurate representation of anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's frustrating they exist, but
Right. And it's tough, like when you're like, it's tough to pull yourself away from it sometimes, especially like, I mean, you have to, but when you're so engrossed in something, and when you find yourself passionate about certain topics, and then you see how people are reacting, and just like, that what? And it got to the point where like, that can't be real. And most of the time it probably isn't. Like most people, I don't think most people would say what they say on that app if they were face to face with the person they were talking to.
Not at all.
No.
One of the things I like hearing from Gundam is like, the other person on, that person was on the other side of the screen sweating because it's the closest they've ever been to a real fight. Like,
so
it's true.
Like the way people really feel when they're about to like throw a punch or get hit is like how they're feeling. It's like, Your blood pressure's pumping, and you're just like,
That's Seth Rogen with every letter he types.
yeah, dude. Oh man,
It's funny. I was it was I want to say about a month back. Somebody on Twitter asked the question, what's your rules for using Twitter? And mine was simple. I don't say anything on there that I wouldn't say in real life.
Mhm.
Anything and considering how we met, Sheep can verify this. Anything I've said on Twitter, anything I've said on any social media, I will say if you were standing right there in front of me.
That's good. I get a little out of hand sometimes. So I'll sit like sometimes I'll get big balls, but I'm not a small person. Like I don't know how people like everyone. I mean, I've never seen you guys, but everyone who's like seen me on camera and then met me in real life has been like, "Oh, you're bigger than I thought you would be," which I always find interesting.
5'6" is not that big though.
You think I'm 5'6"?
Stop measuring just as big.
5'8".
No, I'm 6'1".
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm six even, so I understand.
Yeah. So like it's funny because like, and I'm not like anyone, you only see me in a bust shot. So you don't like I have a bit of a gut. So it's like they see me and like, wow, you're a pretty big person. Like I can't believe people talk to you the way they do. Like if they saw you in real life, they would be like, ooh. And you know, it's just but you know, occasionally I get big balls on the internet too, because yeah, you know, I'm behind the screen. But for the most part, the things I will speak out on, I will say in someone's like personal space, because a lot of the stuff I do comment on has to do with, you know, indoctrination of children and right. You know, exploiting them, and even, you know, just some of the wild, weird overly done sexual culture of like Twitch and shit. Like,
it's the weirdest shit. Like my rule is the same on Twitter. Is like I wouldn't say anything that to anybody I wouldn't say in real. Like this is something that Amarada can also attest to. Is that like I have no problem shit talking anybody. I will talk the same amount of shit behind someone's back as I would talk to them to the front, like to the front of their faces, pretty much. Or to their faces. Like I have no problem like going at somebody if it really comes down to it. Now I'd prefer to not get confrontational. I prefer just throwing a bunch of jokes. You look at my Twitter feed and people like I'm not doing it for any kind of clout. I'm just doing it to try to be funny. And if you find it funny, cool, hit that heart. But otherwise, keep scrolling. It's not for you, bigot. But like otherwise, it's just. That's all I do. I go up there, I shit post, and I get out of there.
Yes. Yeah.
I scroll through and retweet. That's
all right. Like you're the best retweeter.
Aren't I?
Yeah.
Like dead ass. Like you look at the notifications. Amarada. Like Christ. Then you see the one from Silver Ogre is like, okay, so there are more people on Twitter. Cool.
I've always found I'm better at finding people saying fun things or doing fun things than I am at saying and doing them myself. But I feel it's an important job for me to spread the word of the things other people are doing.
Yeah.
Spread the word of Cthulhu.
Exactly. I'm here. I mean, it's the plus side of being an eldritch god is, you know, I know you guys are both, 6 feet or whatever. I can be any size I want.
It's true.
Anytime I want. This isn't even my true form. It's just the one I'm using for the time being.
Right. Is what she says.
But, it's an interesting place that the internet puts you in.
Yeah. And like what you do like with like spreading things that people say, and like even like in this show, like I see it as something that like it just needs to be done. Like it's eventually we need to find like our own voices and like where it fits in and how we can change the people that, or not change, but how we might be able to help people through dark times. Like I think more people have been sort of like red pilled over the past 2 years and like
that's bad
ever. And I don't like I don't mean like red pilled as in like now we have a bunch of conservatives on our hand, but I think we're just like have woken people up.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. That's what
right? Like you're now aware of like
That's what it is.
the bullshit that's been like spoon fed to you over the years. And even like I have students that I teach, and they were like, I said some comment like, oh yeah, that's fake news, and they're like, yeah, like Fox. And I was just like, wow, man, like it's so funny how these like and not to say that they aren't, like, I mean, both news outlets are, or the two main legacy outlets are just awful.
Yeah.
But it's just like seeing people realize like they've been bamboozled for so long by so many people that we were told to trust, and now you're starting to understand like what's really going on. Like, you're not a victim. You're like, these people aren't really on your side. And so that's what I hope to gain out of it is like I gain more of a perspective on my own voice and where I stand. Same thing with you guys is like we can exchange ideas and like we agreed on quite a bit tonight, but I would assume in the future there might not always see eye to eye on things.
Well, honestly, there were a couple things that I did disagree with you on tonight,
Yeah.
but I just chose to let you, continue to be wrong. No, I could say because opinions are opinions. You have
Yeah.
your stances, I have my stances, and like to just make it all confrontational just because we have a disagreement makes zero sense to me.
That's true. I mean, but even talking out like what that difference may be, like it might not be enough to be like, oh yeah, well now I totally agree with you, but the
Right.
understanding of where you are
Mhm.
like is important. I think that's what people are losing, is the fact that I can disagree with someone who's ultra liberal or progressive, but I can understand their humanity and what they're trying to do, but I might not align myself with them, but I still get where they're coming from. And I'm sure,
Yeah, that's pretty much what I do when it comes to any kind of like a disagreement that I have with a lot of people. It's more so like, okay, well, I see where your stance is,
Mhm.
but let me now like propose to you my stance and see if you understand where I'm coming from. If you understand where we're coming from, then, we can walk away amicably. It's no problem otherwise. But
Yep.
if you sit there, you continue to combat my stance, even though I understand where you're coming from, and I understand where you're coming from. I'm not going to sit here and try to convince you to look at it to now view life from my perspective. That's not
Right.
my job. It's just
True.
this is what my stance is. Let's see if we can find some kind of common ground. If not, we can leave it as is, go on about our days, maybe meet up and still have a cup of coffee or whatever. But if you want to just combat it, then we're just going to be enemies in a
Well,
way.
see, now I'm interested to know, what did you disagree with me on?
Oh, it's just a Black Rifle thing as well.
Oh,
Like the
okay.
main thing I was thinking of is like I'm just not a fan of the idea of hypocrisy. It's like you have like you pretty much not. I'm not saying you were raised on guns, but that's kind of like your modus operandi. It's like it's built on
Right.
veterans, and pretty much firearms are included. So when you say something like, "Well, Rittenhouse shouldn't have done what he did," the kid defended himself in the best way
Right.
possible. It just so happened the situation panned out in a way that
Right.
where the chips fell into place, where the innocent kid was proven innocent, and you just kind of disagree with it. It just seems weird to me. So I was just like,
Well, I agree with so when it comes to that, like I disagree with what he said. Like I think it was dumb that he said it.
Right.
My stance is that I don't like, I think that they do more good for the community than that one shitty, stupid comment. Because I
Right.
agree
So
with
it's
what Rittenhouse did and everything.
it's pretty much like I recognize that the machine does good work, but there's this one bad click that it keeps having,
Right.
kind of thing.
Right.
I get you.
No, and honestly, and I don't necessarily fault people for feeling the way they do about that company.
Mhm.
And I'm always like, honestly, I'm a coffee nut, so it's not like I'm not like selling my soul to them by any means. I'm always looking for the next best cup of coffee anyway.
Yes, I'm Miranda. I'm like I go to like almost every
Should
gas
meet my coffee
station.
maker.
Almost I go to almost every gas station around. I'm just trying every kind of coffee they have. I'm
Mhm.
out here. It's like, all right, well, what is this flavor? What is this flavor at? Like, what's this syrup? Try this syrup. Try this one. Try this level of caffeine. Try The only one I won't drink is decaf because I think that's a sin.
Oh,
Coffee.
have you
That's
ever
brown
seen my
water.
tattoo?
Oh
My
yeah,
hands?
no, death before decaf. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah. Everyone sees it. They're like, "Oh, what's that?" I'm like, "Death before decaf." Like, "Oh, fuck yeah." I want to make it
Absolutely.
into a T-shirt for my stuff.
Be cool.
But-
Oh yeah, do it. Oh, by the way, another thing I disagree with you as far as I'm pretty, or rather, you'd probably disagree with me on this. That Spider-Man picture you have in the back moves at a faster frame rate than the actual movie.
Yeah, that's true. See, I
Oh,
liked.
okay, well, he agrees.
Yeah, no, and but the thing is I liked how that movie. I don't know.
Was
I
produced?
I just enjoyed it because I thought it was. It like the film had texture, which is what I thought was really cool. Like I feel like a lot of animated movies didn't have the texture that did, like the stippling of like the comic paper, like you could see like
Right.
little dots. Like I thought that was a really nice touch, and like there was like different art styles kind of like in the whole thing. It was just it seemed like a really nice like love letter to comic fans, even though it was like even though he's a tokenized character, I still enjoyed the film. I agree with you on his on Miles and like how like his story is not original. You know, he should have been a completely different superhero. Like, I mean, he has totally different powers, right?
Right.
So I agree with you there. But I just really liked the film. I thought it was, and I will say something I liked about the story, and it connects me with my son, is another reason I really like it. My son really liked the movie when he was 2. We watched it, and the story, the dynamic between Miles and Peter B. Parker in that movie was like one of the best, like father-son stories in a way. Like him, like Peter B. Parker realizing that he wanted to become a dad because of Miles and their relationship. It like makes me cry every time I watch it. And I know people will laugh at me for that.
I will.
It's just that it's because of my personal experience with my son watching that and watching his eyes light up at so many different times. Like when Miles finally puts the suit on and gets it ready, like my son was like pretending to swing around the living room, and he was like happy and like cheering for Miles at that point. And then, you know, like obviously my son didn't cry, but seeing that connection, him realizing he wanted to be a dad and he wanted to reconcile his relationship. Good
With,
storytelling.
MJ, yeah.
Yeah, good storytelling in my opinion. Like good arc for Peter in that particular instance.
So what you're telling me is when I have a son, I'm gonna cry. I highly doubt that, but
maybe
Cry.
I'm
mean,
not
it's just
gonna cry.
right. Maybe not in that movie, but you'll find a connection in something that has little to do with anything, and you'll connect with your son on that level because he will have experienced it, and you will have experienced it at a young age, and it will speak to you in a way like this is real. You have this human, you are part of their life, and you are teaching them good things or whatever it might be. It's a wild ride, man. It will happen to you, I promise.
Nah, so I'm thinking the only time I'll ever eke out a tear is in the delivery room when my hands getting squeezed.
Yep.
It's
Oh,
just
dude,
it's
Being broken.
like
kids,
yeah, my hand
especially
like
if
I'm feeling like 4 bones just cracking. I'm just like, oh, this is it. This is the end. This is the end for me. Local hero retires.
it changes you on such a fundamental level that like you can't even put it into words, because I think everyone experiences it differently and at different times. But that's why like something like this movie, like everyone like kind of scoffs at it, and you know, and I especially know people in a lot of like our similar circles don't care for it, but my personal connection with it is that my son and I shared in the adventure, and I recognized the story of Peter and Miles in there, that it was an awakening with both of them, like a symbiotic relationship, and him wanting to be a dad is just a beautiful thing, because I wish that for everyone. I wish everyone wakes up one day and realizes they want to raise the next great generation of children.
Mhm.
So that's it.
No,
The end.
I get you. That is that. I get you.
But yeah, that was, I mean, what do you guys got? How are you feeling? We covered pretty much the stuff I wanted to cover. Anything
All
else? Any more disagreements that we can go through, Sheep? Or
Let me see.
I mean,
let me
other
see.
than the validity of the public school system, but
That's
yeah,
not a
that
disagreement at all.
that man, we could do a whole stream on that, because I realized what I was saying, and I know that, like, I was just trying to simplify it to, like,
yeah. Well, that's why I didn't interrupt you at all, because I know I mean, it is
Right.
what we have right now. It's what we have to deal with, and it's what many parents use. Because I mean, it's there, and people, unfortunately, it's led to the farming out of raising the children, which is part of why we are where we are today.
yeah,
But yeah, no, I totally get what you were going with.
yeah, and I agree. Like,
I just
I mean,
had to say it.
yeah, no, it's because I definitely caught myself there. I was like, "Ooh, wait, no. This I'm not making an excuse for public education necessarily. I'm just saying that they do have no business talking to our kids about this." So, but yeah,
Yes, robust. You absolutely should cry when Bruce Willis sacrifices himself in Armageddon.
yes,
That is an appropriate place to cry.
Sheep's like, nah, he can die.
I'm still on the same I'm in the same boat as the guy from the dad from Train to Busan. You cry if you shed tears, you do it away from people, out of sight of other people.
Okay.
You let you get away from people, you let it rip, you pull yourself back together, you get back out there and get the job done.
I can't wait to continue our friendship on and find out that you break down like a little baby every time your kid smiles at you.
Nah. See, here's the thing about
I can
that.
see it.
It's gonna no.
He
It
doesn't
won't
think it'll
happen.
happen, but I've watched him with the dogs.
Yeah, I was about to
He
say,
will
like, first off,
absolutely have those moments.
no, I'm not saying I won't melt for my kid. I'm just saying I won't cry.
It's not going to be, like a full blown. You're not going to be into sobs and stuff.
Yeah,
But I guarantee you, I will find a tear or two trickling down your face.
right. It's not like a babbling cry that I have. It's like it's like a big apple in my throat and like just wet eyes. That's all it is.
What
It's not
y'all
like
fail to understand is that won't happen. It'll look like a hiccup as I keep my mask on.
I forgot that Emerauda consumed your heart.
No, she didn't consume my heart, just the soul.
No, the heart's in a box under the front stairs.
I love it.
Yes, I'm going to get it. Hold on, I'll be back.
Finally, I know where it is.
Come back. Like, wait, there aren't any stairs.
That's why you don't live with a creature of madness, because
Yeah, plot twist. There are stairs. I just don't see them because fucking bullshit color out of space shit. That's what it is. And I'm not even Nicolas Cage. Now I'm super mad.
Oh, guys, in my opinion, this has been a success tonight. I've had fun.
So.
I've had fun talking about this, and I'm glad we did somewhat of a dry run for this, because I know some things that I would like to improve on. Of course, guys, if you have any suggestions, let's talk about it further. I hope everyone in chat enjoyed our talk tonight. We would like to make this a weekly thing where we kind of catch people up on what's been happening. And I will be doing what I can to chop this up into fun little segments, and also the like little clips that I find. You guys, if you want this for yourself, I'd be happy to send it over to you. Not an issue at all.
If it's okay with you, I should actually be able to keep it up on Odyssey too.
Yeah, that's fine. I totally okay. And the grander plan would be to bring on more people as guests and get a bit of a midweek panel show going where we can laugh and talk and get serious at times with our friends. So obviously, if you're someone who wants to be a part of that, you can reach out to us. We can get a list going of people to bring on. We love you all. You guys are a great support at all times. I know people from my stream who have been here are awesome. I thank you. If you're not subscribed to the channel, of course, subscribe when you can, like the video, comment if you're watching this after the fact, and be sure to support these guys as well. Guys, tell everyone about your own streams and shout yourselves out, of course, please.
Ladies first.
Oh, you
Squiddies
mean
first.
Eldritch Beatings? Okay.
Yes.
Squiddies first.
You can always find me. Well, not always. You can mostly find me on Twitch, 9:30 to whenever I go to bed, Thursday to Sunday. I'm trying to work in some other times, but life being what it is, you know how that doesn't work out. But I'm thinking about continuing my Horizon Forbidden West off stream and starting Elden Ring on Thursday. I haven't decided fully yet.
Ooh,
But I may
yeah.
start Elden Ring on Thursday. I'm going to consult the community and see what they think, but I get the feeling I already know their answer. So
Yeah, it's gonna be, just go ahead and shelf put Aloy on the shelf next to Fauci.
Yeah.
They'll get back to it.
they just want to hear me scream because that's what they do to me when I play 7 Days to Die on
That
Fridays.
shit was funny.
and-
It was alarming and
Sundays.
funny. Imagine,
Yeah, he was.
imagine going to bed and you're kind of halfway asleep and you get the question. Do you think I came off a little bit too strongly? And it's like,
I was
great, I gotta
pissed.
wake up.
He looked at me as he walked through the room and I was yelling at the chat, and I was pissed. That's the only way to. I was really, really pissed.
Like she was mad. She didn't
I told them all
deserve.
to.
Yeah, she didn't deserve that kind of abuse. At the same time, the chat didn't deserve that kind of abuse. I laughed, but ultimately, it was a fun time.
Oh, he can't watch me because he wants to watch it or he wants to play it, and he's like me. He doesn't.
Oh.
He wants to go and told because I've been trying to stop by more streams lately, but I can't right now because everybody's playing Elden Ring.
Yeah,
True.
this is true.
Something I'll say about Elden Ring, though, is that the only thing to really be spoiled are like bosses, but even that, I saw a couple bosses that are coming up, and it doesn't really spoil anything for me because it doesn't tell me anything about how to get to them. And FromSoft games have always been pretty bad at contextualizing.
I'm so damn
This
weird.
is
I don't
true.
even want to see other people use the character creator. I want to go in
That's fair.
knowing literally nothing I'm just weird that way, and I know I am. But
Yeah. It's fun. My advice on Elden Ring is this, and I'm sure you don't really need it, but I will say it anyway because I just like to talk.
Fair.
Take your time with it. So many people that I watch play it are rushing through and I got to complete every boss and blah 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 blah, and just explore. Don't listen to backseaters. Go where you want to go. That's the fun of this game, is that it doesn't hold your hand. It holds your hand more than the other games do.
Yeah.
But in a way that's still very challenging.
No, I'm awful. My first game I played on stream was Cyberpunk. It took me 90 hours to finish it.
Oh wow.
So this will be a while. I'm imagining because they said it takes for a full complete playthrough 100 hours. So I imagine it'll take me at least 100 hours,
208.
if not more.
Yeah. Yeah, easy.
So,
it's
because I will look in every corner. I will look under every rock. I will read everything. It's just how I play the game.
Well, that's where you're gonna get your story. You open up, you pick up a new sword, open it up, go to it, and read the lore on the sword. It's just that's where you get story. It's not going to be in a cutscene, really. It's not going to be, really every now and then you sit at a site of grace and a certain character will pop up, But like
Right.
other than that, it's all there for you to discover. It's quite beautiful. So I'm excited for you to play it.
Yep.
Um,
I've wanted to start it for a while. So yep. Twitch, same name, Horror Amarada. Feel free to stop by if you're up late and you're not watching Shags, because
it's true. Sheep, what are you up to?
If you are watching Shags, just go ahead and stop watching Shags and watch me instead. So no, I'm on YouTube. I'll eventually get back into the swing of uploading videos. I just got a lot of stuff going on in like my life as it is. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Odyssey. This is like it's got the simul upload.
Nice.
So when it goes up on YouTube, it goes up on Odyssey. I suggest you go watch it on Odyssey because I'm sick of looking at Susan Witwicky taking money out of the pocket, out of my pocket, and she didn't even pay me. And I'm also on Twitch. Mondays and Fridays currently will be Monday and Wednesdays and Fridays once we actually get this. Once we finalize a lot of things that are going on currently, get settled, and we'll both pretty much have streams going.
you move your Thursday thing?
Yeah, it's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday now.
Okay.
What else is there? It's YouTube, Odyssey, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, all the same name, Sheep City'n. And as it is right now, it's not really news, but I've been telling people for a while, like I'm working on a comic. I'm a one-man army. So as it is, I've gotten the story written out. I'm doing storyboarding. I got the first book for the storyboarding done, and what I want to do is get at least half of the storyboarding for the whole series done before I actually move into like doing the final work and then pushing the books out, because I want to keep it as like as regular as possible. So aside from that, I'm pretty much bullshitting on the bass guitar, or playing slapping the bass. I'm trying out new Mario Kart tracks or something like that. I'm like, all right, cool. I got my 30 minutes in for the day, and I'm gonna
moving heavy things for me.
Moving heavy things for Amarada, and also moving heavy things over at work. That's something else I wanted to say really quickly is because I saw Ogre put he commented, he was like, puny man. I guess because he's taller than both of us, Shags.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, okay, that's fine and dandy. I'm not entirely sure if you, sir. Now I'm not starting beef, but it may sound like it. I'm not entirely sure if you are out here pushing around, like, you know, pushing around, picking up like 600-700 pound machines. I'm doing that. That's my job. Requires me to go upstairs, downstairs, making the fucking L turns on stairs, going through tight corners, going in fucking crawl spaces, all that stuff. It sucks.
Yeah,
it's the job though.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this: it in some good physical shape. So
yeah, that's what I'm going for next.
I may be small, but I can push you. That's all that matters to me. I wouldn't push you in real life, though. I'm pretty sure you're a cool person. Nonetheless,
Sheep. Tim over on Odyssey just said that you should play Just Some Guy as a voice. You should replace Just Some Guy as a voice.
I wouldn't replace Just Some Guy. Just Some Guy is still even though he's been on a tear recently. I don't agree with him at all on his stance. He's not a bad guy. I'm not going to sit here and condemn him because of his
He's
take.
a confused person as well.
I like his takes on things, but he's
had a number of takes that I completely disagree with. Like I will argue him to fucking death, but like at the core of it all, he's still a good guy. I don't hate the guy at all. Like there's no reason to hate him at all. Like he hasn't gone out of his way to single out like a specific person and say, or I guess aside from politicians, but he hasn't gone out of his way to. Well, yeah, but that's only because, you know, people kept bringing it up to Nick, and Nick then commented on it because, you know, he put out the video, and then that's when they started, like, you know, the whole weird confrontation between the two of them.
They definitely
So
have an issue. There's just well, I mean, ever
I
since
was
that last confrontation they had,
yeah,
things have
he
been
hasn't been the
weird.
same.
Yeah.
But like I'm not gonna sit here and say that I'm not gonna sit here and say that that was just some guy's fault or Nick's fault. It was ultimately people who wanted to see some kind of confrontation. That
Mm.
it's just the weirdest shit. Like people are gonna have takes that you don't agree with all the time, and if you guys can't come to some kind of reconciliation, then there's no growth.
Yeah, the issue, like the big issue is, well, without starting on a whole new topic, but is like
Too late.
outrage sells, right? And that's
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
people want, and that's what is making people pretty wealthy right now. So
Yeah, which
it's
is weird.
yeah, it is, and it's moderates are not really they're not making the big bucks. It's not until they're martyred that they really come back as like the smart ones or the reasonable ones. But
Right.
it's fun to watch the drama, right? We all want to be a part of it in high school, and
I
it's kinda
love
carried over.
watching a train wreck.
Right.
As it slowly a slow train wreck because
Oh no, I
those are the
love
ones
watching them all. The fast ones, the slow ones,
that's when you can
I
see every car unhook as they start to crinkle into each other. You can see like the gas leak and then like the slow flame just like slide across the trail and then and it's great.
I belie. I mean, I hate being involved in drama. I hate drama in my life, but I'd be lying if I said I love watching other drama just unfold.
Oh yeah,
I love that.
yeah, it's yeah, like you said,
Evil,
like
but I love
everyone
it.
loves a good train wreck.
Right. But yeah, Justin Guy is he has takes that people are going to agree with. I definitely disagree with him on his current take because the bill does not say it's not a don't say gay bill. It's just what it's been framed to be simply
Right.
because DeSantis wants the education system to veer in a way where kids aren't being taught something prematurely or something that they don't need to learn at their current stage in development.
Right.
Yep.
Legacy media needs their villain right now, and DeSantis
Right.
is the guy.
Pretty much.
They've been
and I'm just
looking
like,
for a good one since Trump left. So
yeah, and they're just like, oh, great, another Trump, so we can run this one. As soon as he runs for president, then he'll be the new slander of the media. That's pretty much what they're. But I mean, they already lost Juan Lamont, Fredo, and Brian Stelzerwater. So I mean, they don't. Good fucking luck finding 3 clowns, Larry, Curly, and Homo that work together.
Oh God.
God.
I'm so glad we're over 2 hours.
I know that's exactly why I said it.
Anyways,
let's go back to
I did my
wrapping up.
plugs.
Okay.
I did my plugs. We're good. Sheep City, and like just look for me. If I'm not there, then make the account and try to do whatever I do. I fucking don't care. Have fun, but I know where I am. I know where I am. The links are there.
Yes, I was going to say all relevant links, I believe, are in the bio, in the description down below. So please be sure to check those out if you need the links. Other than that, you can find me on Twitch Friday through. Well, I'm sorry, it's actually now we're doing Twitch streams Saturday, Sunday, and Monday with a Friday YouTube stream talking about like comics and movies and other pop culture stuff. A little less serious than this, but still something that I'm getting together with friends and trying to put out more YouTube content for you guys so we can, just have that evergreen content available for you to see what's going on. I have 3 recent videos, reactions to trailers of Moon Knight, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and what was the last one? God, I'm forgetting already. Doctor Strange.
Halo. Oh, I knew that. Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange. So be sure to check those out. Again, like, comment, subscribe the most you can. Help us push that algorithm out. And that's it for today. I'm out of here. Bye, everyone.
Later, Gators.